Chapter 47:27. Although Long Chen didn't exclaim, he couldn't help but be stunned. What's this for fun? However, Long Chen soon guessed the key. Sit down. The leader of soul-killing sect was cut off, but his face was very calm. He shouted coldly to the strong people present, I'm not good at governing the sect. I should be punished. I hope you can take a warning in the future. Cut, it's this routine. Cutting off your arm is useful. It's just a small punishment and a big admonition. You can split your head. Dragon Dust's mouth showed a mocking color. For the strong king, cutting off his arm has no loss at all, but it's just a matter of face. The divine envoy didn't use the power of law. As long as the leader of soul-killing sect wanted to recover in an instant, but he didn't do that. This is a play for the people below. The envoy looked around and shouted coldly. Su Qinyao, a disciple of the soul-killing sect, ignored the warning of the sect and led his disciples to sneak into Lingshao Academy. He was defeated and lost so many disciples in vain. He was extremely stupid. It's not only stupid, but also disgraced our life hunters. Those who came back to report to Longchen have all followed the law and made an example. They'll go. It's very cruel. Those guys didn't die in my hands, but they died in their own hands. Long Chen was stunned, which he didn't expect. Only to hear the envoy continue. We life hunters have endured humiliation for so many years in order to bring back the lost dignity. Our ancestors can bear it for so many years. How about you? I just got the 9-turn destiny pill and became a 9-star destiny. I don't know how many kilograms I have. They'll go. They really have a way to create a 9-star destiny. Although Long Chen guessed it before, he was still surprised to be confirmed. I might as well tell you that those who promote destiny with the power of pill are all false destiny. You are thousands of miles away from the real 9-star destiny. All your heads have been recorded for me. Unless you light the ghost, you will never be qualified to challenge the real 9-star destiny. There are 3 halls and 12 temples in Tianfu founded by our life-hunting family. Even if we don't count the unparalleled Tianjiao in the Emperor's Heaven, there are hundreds of millions of talents in the younger generation. Tianfu gave you the precious Zhuzhuan Tianming pill. Is it to make you arrogant and act recklessly? God made the old man drink angrily. The disciples present were like ducks listening to thunder. They didn't dare to say a word. The envoy glanced at the people and said coldly, You should have more people here. Those with good qualifications have been transferred to the secret base for special training. You can stay here because of your lack of talent, but even if you lack talent, talent has not given you up. Do you know why Tianfu gave this 9-turn destiny pill to you guys with limited qualifications? The strong men present did not say a word. Although many people knew it, they did not dare to answer. They were afraid that if they answered wrong and were regarded as a vent, everyone could see that the envoy was holding his stomach full of fire. You, cocky boy, you answer me. Seeing that everyone was silent, the envoy became more angry and directly said to Longchen, Cut, they are all cowards. What's the use of life hunters for you? They dare not even answer a question. When did they become so conservative as the strongest killer? They don't want to be meritorious, but want to make no mistakes? In the face of the envoy's question, a look of ridicule appeared on Long Chen's face. As soon as Long Chen said this, Qian Feng next to him was scared green. He was afraid that the envoy would slap him and kill him. But strangely, the envoy didn't mean to be angry, even with a touch of appreciation in his eyes. Long Chen said slowly, The so-called good steel should be used on the blade. Everyone is a trained secret weapon. Since it is a secret weapon, if you don't make a move, it will be thunderous. Either you die or I live. Okay, the envoy clapped his hands and applauded for Long Chen. He said loudly, Yes, this is the intention of Tianfu to cultivate you. If Su Qinyao had your consciousness, he wouldn't have acted rashly. He was so stupid that he was hopelessly stupid. Fortunately, he died in the hands of Long Chen. Otherwise, I will make him regret coming to this world. There are 2 disciples of the Purple Blood clan in Lingshao Academy. They are our goal. We are planning how to launch a surprise attack to take them down. But I didn't expect that Su Qinyao, a son of a bitch, should have done it without permission. This time, he startled the snake and completely destroyed our plan. Do you think he should die? The emissary said later. His voice was like running thunder and his face was distorted. He wanted to bite Su Qingyao alive. The envoy was so angry that he yelled and his mood suddenly got out of control. I came all the way from the emperor to cross the sea of broken stars, just to perform this task. When I come here, you fuck up everything. What do you ask me to do back? Hearing this, Long Chen understood. Emotional Tianfu created a group of 9-star destiny people with 9-turn destiny pill in order to attack Lingxiao Academy and catch Luo Bing and Luo Ning alive. As a result, after Su Qingyao was promoted to the 9-star destiny, his confidence burst. He directly pulled a group of his men and wanted to do a big job. As a result, he almost lost the whole army. When this happened, the envoy was still walking through the sea of broken stars in fear. When he came here, he heard about it. No wonder this guy looked like a mad dog biting. According to Long Chen's estimation, before he came, he made a careful plan and even made a military order. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so angry. It's not too late for God to calm your anger and make up for it. You'd better tell us what we're going to do next. The leader of the soul-killing sect opened his mouth and advised. In fact, he didn't know about it, but Su Qingyao was his direct descendant and doted on him, so he couldn't get rid of it. Being cut off is actually a cruel trick. If this thing can be recovered, it can be seen that he has also been punished and humiliated face to face. This matter may be solved like this. Now the key is how to recover it. The envoy took a deep breath and calmed his excitement quickly. After a while, his face gradually improved and he said, "There is a very important thing to announce when we gather you today. We will launch a large-scale attack on Lingxiao Academy. Our goal is to capture the 2 girls of the Purple Blood family alive and cut off the head of Longchen." Dragon Dust. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-28 Nima. I'm here this time. Are you plotting to kill me? Long Chen was stunned. So many people came here for a meeting because they wanted his head, and he, the Lord, was in the crowd. It's a little ironic. I have to listen to this. Dragon Dust directly put down his upturned feet, and the whole person sat straight. In fact, the action of raising your feet looks arrogant, but in fact, it's uncomfortable, but in other people's eyes, it seems that Long Chen is serious. Every move on the scene could not escape the eyes of the envoy. Seeing that Long Chen was sitting with his dangerous lapel, his eyes showed a satisfied color, and he didn't seem to be so eager to clean up Long Chen. Well, can I ask, why can't Dragon Dust catch alive? Those 2 little girls are not strong enough. If one can't do well, what should we do? After all, the battlefield is very chaotic. Even we can't guarantee that there are no mistakes. The Dragon Dust has stronger strength and is not so easy to be killed. Long Chen raised his hand and motioned. When Long Chen opened his mouth, many of the disciples present nodded secretly, which was also the question they wanted to ask. However, these killers were used to obeying orders, but rarely asked questions. You asked this question very well, which means you really listened. The god made the old man nod and praised Long Chen for the first time. The purpose of killing Dragon Dust is to establish prestige, because this bastard is too arrogant. Especially when others send messages to us, he is so arrogant that the great Tianfu can't stand it. The reason for keeping the lives of these 2 women is that their lives are very important. As for why they are important, we need to start from the beginning. Next, my words are very important. It's related to your future. Listen carefully. You'd better not miss a word. Speaking later, the emissary's face became serious. Emperor Heaven, the last day of the 9 days, is also the highest plane in the 9 days. However, during the Chaos-era war, Emperor Heaven has been torn apart and become a wasteland. Hearing that the envoy began to talk about the Emperor's Heaven, Long Chen also became serious. After all, he also wanted to know the specific situation in the Emperor's Heaven. From the story of the envoy, Long Chen learned that although the Emperor was the highest level in the 9 days, it had been beaten beyond recognition and full of holes. Most of the land is wild. In some places, the space cracks are crisscross. Even the Holy King and the strong dare not approach those space cracks. It is said that these cracks are the wounds left by the war between gods and demons in the chaotic era. The gods and demons have disappeared, but their will is still retained. If the holy king and the strong are close to the crack, they will also be hurt by the residual will of the crack. Therefore, more than 90% of the whole Emperor's heaven is either deserted or occupied by terrorist monsters. There are still some places that can't be set foot by both Terrans and monsters. These monsters are the remnants of the Chaos War. It is said that they belong to the species outside the sky, not 9 days and 10 places. They have a wide variety and are bloodthirsty, frantically attacking the territory of major forces. This kind of attack is almost day and night. It has never been interrupted for hundreds of millions of years. The major races in the Emperor's heaven fight fiercely with demons and monsters while building their own camp fortress to strive for a trace of living space in the endless crisis. Survival is extremely difficult, because this is a war of attrition. Monsters are endless, and I don't know where they come from. All major ethnic forces can only bite their teeth and insist. They can only try to reduce casualties and try their best to have children to slow down the consumption of war. Therefore, many forces do not live very well, because there are monsters everywhere and people's scope of activities is compressed. Therefore, the available resources are limited. Limited resources have to bear unlimited consumption. Once the resources are exhausted, it means that the race will be extinct. Only all-powerful ethnic forces, relying on their unique advantages, occupy a place in the Emperor's heaven and steadily push forward around, occupy more land and strive for more resources. The life-hunting clan, in the Emperor's heaven, can be said to be the most popular race. They have strong hiding ability, and even demons can't find them. Therefore, their nest is built among the demons and monsters. It is the safest base. Others are struggling, but Tianfu is recuperating rapidly. After hundreds of millions of years of cultivation, their strength has gradually approached the original strongest state. Because of this, Tianfu had the idea of revenge. However, the Emperor's heaven was too big. Their location was just a corner of the Emperor's heaven. Even with the strength of Tianfu, the scope of activities was limited. Their stealth ability is only effective for some monsters. When the search scope is expanded, they will encounter monsters who can see through their camouflage, and they will also encounter danger. Even a stronghold established in Tianfu was found by a group of migrating monsters and was directly destroyed. None of the survivors escaped. It can be said that it suffered heavy losses. The scope of activities of the major forces of the Emperor's heaven only accounts for 1/10 of the Emperor's heaven, while the scope of activities of the Tianfu is wider, accounting for only 2/10. In the area they searched, there was no trace of the purple blood family. However, in recent years, they found traces of the action of the purple blood family. This discovery made Tianfu people excited and nervous. At this time, Tianfu immediately ordered to stop activities in that area to avoid being found by purple blood people. Because Tianming clan and purple blood clan are sworn enemies, they know that there are purple blood clan near that area, but they dare not get too close, because they do not know their number and deployment. If they act rashly, they are likely to miss the net. The ultimate goal of Life Hunting Clan is to annihilate each other. When Long Chen heard this, a strange color appeared in his eyes. It sounds so good. You're afraid that one can't be done well. Let history repeat itself. However, hearing the news of the purple blood family, Long Chen was a little excited. He believed that Grandpa should have been there. When he thought of his grandfather, he thought of the mother he had never met. Long Chen suddenly felt sad and deeply missed him. Although he is a man, if his child is born a few days, he will be captured by someone and disappear after the spirit blood, spirit root, and spirit bone. From then on, he doesn't know life or death. Long Chen knows that he will go crazy. The mother must have suffered countless hardships over the years. The pain can't be described in words, let alone experienced by herself. Thinking of this, Long Chen wished he could fly to the Emperor's heaven to have a look. Suddenly, Qian Feng's exclamation came from Long Chen's side. Long Chen found that he had stood up and clenched his fist unconsciously. "What are you doing?" At this time, the angry drink of the envoy came from the high platform. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4729. Wipe, I'm so excited. Long Chen reacted. Everyone was sitting. He stood up alone, clenched his hands and looked like he was going to hit people. He immediately became the focus of the whole audience. Who is Dragon Dust? The reaction speed is definitely not comparable to that of ordinary people. With excitement, Long Chen roared, I'm going to the Emperor's heaven to meet the Purple Blood family for a while. Don't you find that my blood has begun to boil, my soul is messy and my will is burning? What is calling me? That's the awakening in the depths of my blood. I can't wait for a moment. Brothers, come with me. What's the matter? What's the mess? Even if you want revenge, you have to come step by step. What are you excited about? Sit down for me. The envoy was so angry that his nose was going to be crooked. However, Long Chen's excited appearance was not pretended. He thought that Long Chen wanted to become crazy for the shame of the hunters. It's not good to dispel Long Chen's passion, let alone scold him, so as not to affect everyone's morale. I tell you, I can get along with you. I'm really good at something. Unlike them, who are like wooden stakes and can't fart with 3 sticks, you can't count on them at all. So you give me a higher position and let me lead them. I promise to make it clear to you. How about it? Since the play has been performed, it must be performed to the end. Long Chen stared at the beads and pretended to be stunned. He even said and compared the tunnel. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I haven't finished yet. Why don't you arrange a fart? Sit down and interrupt me. I'll sew your mouth up. The envoy was so popular that he wanted to bite people. His voice was roaring. Dragon Dust can only spread his hands helplessly and sat down with an unconvinced face. Shit, it's too excited. It's so dangerous. I have to be stable. I have to listen to what he said behind. Long Chen sat down and the whole audience was silent. The envoy looked at the people below. The people below looked at the envoy. For a time, the picture seemed to be still. After a few breaths, the envoy looked annoyed and said, It's all this boy's fault. Where did I just talk about? Speaking of, we have roughly determined the scope of activities of the Purple Blood clan. The leader of soul-killing sect said, Yes, we have roughly determined the range of activities of the Purple Blood clan, but we can't determine the specific location, so we don't dare to act rashly to scare the snake. This is also the reason why we must those 2 living mouths. We need to use their blood essence to determine the precise position of the Purple Blood family. Not only that, at the critical moment, we can also use them as bait. If we have mental calculation but not intentional, we can make the Purple Blood family suffer a great loss. What's your expression? When the envoy talked about this, he was very calm, and suddenly roared. His eyes were like a knife, staring at Long Chen, because he saw the disdainful corners of his mouth. Our Tianfu has recast its glory, but their Purple Blood family has survived in the cracks, which is no longer the grand occasion of the past. At this time, we should take a thunderbolt, sweep the world and take back our lost dignity. It's not fun to use this little trick, and it can't reflect the style of the return of our heavenly king. Dragon Dust retorted. The envoy roared, You know a fart. If you make trouble for me again, I'll beat you to death. Don't think you have some skills, they'll get used to you. People like you catch a lot in the Emperor's heaven. When you go to the Emperor's heaven, you will know what a frog at the bottom of a well is. Don't say you are the 9-star destiny created. Even if you are the real 9-star destiny, you are also Wuyang in the Emperor's heaven. You doubt your life. This is the strategy, this is the layout. If you don't understand anything, just shut up. Do you think the goal of our Tianfu is just the Purple Blood family? You mole ant, how do you know the ambition of Kunpeng? The emissary was furious, but I have to say that the old guy still had some quality. Even if he was angry, he didn't fight against Long Chen. God calmed your anger, or you'd better drive the boy out. At this time, the main road of the soul-killing hall. No, although he's annoying, it's rare for him to be warm-blooded and loyal to me. The messenger said. The envoy of God is so generous. I can't compare with him. I admire him. The Lord of the Soul-Killing Hall exclaimed. The god made the adult take a deep breath. Although Long Chen didn't deliberately breathe at him, Long Chen's talent for breathing is really too strong. It's unbearable to show a little. The envoy calmed down a little and said, "When it comes to the emperor, I can say impolitely that compared with the people there, you are frogs at the bottom of the well. With your current strength, you are the lowest existence in the emperor's heaven. I know it's hard for you to accept, but this is the truth. On the battlefield, you are cannon fodder, which is good to hear. To put it mildly, when you enter the emperor's heaven, you don't even have a chance to go to the battlefield. You may do logistics supply in the future. Maybe it's only qualified to serve tea, pour water, wash clothes, and fold quilts. Don't be unconvinced. They'll put it here first, and you'll see it later." At this point, the god turned the conversation and even changed the sarcasm on his face to peace. However, the rules of the world are always inclined to the strong. As long as you are eager to change, you will have a chance. After all, no one is willing to be a lower class all his life and rely on others to survive, and no one wants to be yelled around like a dog. So now the opportunity comes. As long as you can finish this task well, I can responsibly tell you. The god made a sinister smile appear on the corner of his mouth. For those who have performed well this time, I will ask the senior management to give you an amazing reward after entering the Imperial Queen. This reward is to make you a true 9-star destiny. Hearing the messenger's last words, Long Chen was shocked. How is this possible? Besides my heavenly tree, who else has the ability to go against the sky? At this moment, Long Chen was shocked. Long Chen has always believed that it is his unique ability to create the 9-star destiny, and looking at the old man's tone, it doesn't seem to be a lie. Is this true? This time, Long Chen spoke again, but this time, Long Chen's tone was not so blunt, and his voice seemed a little excited, which satisfied the messenger. He just continued to perform. The god made the old man smile and said, "Of course, it's true. The frog at the bottom of the well, although it doesn't sound good, it's a fact. The Brahmin Dan Valley in the Emperor's Heaven is closely related to us. They refined the Zhuzhuan Tianming pill you ate. They also have a 100-turn destiny pill, which can let a person directly promote the real 9-star destiny, not the pseudo-destiny." Brahma Valley. When hearing the name, Long Chen's hand suddenly clenched, and a figure appeared in his mind. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47:30. In Long Chen's mind, the figure of Brahma suddenly appeared. Unexpectedly, Tianfu colluded with Brahma. Brahma, that's Dragon Dust's mortal enemy. Let alone the hatred of the will of the Dan Emperor, Yu Qingchuan's account alone makes Dragon Dust hate him to the bone. If it had not been for the strong of the dragon family, all the creatures in Tianwu mainland would have been destroyed by him. How can Dragon Dust not repay this hatred? The scene of Long Chen clenching his fist was seen by the envoy. He smiled. He thought that Long Chen was excited because of this 100-turn destiny pill, and he looked determined to get it. Therefore, this mission is very important. It can only succeed without failure, which is related to the future of everyone here. God made the old man look serious. "Lord Envoy, may I ask a question?" Dragon Dust stood up and said. Seeing the Dragon Dust standing up, the envoy was not angry. "I've endured you for a long time. Do you really think I can't kill you? Still dying? Ask." Dragon Dust said, "I think I can handle the Dragon Dust of Lingshao Academy, but I heard that the background of the Dragon Dust is not very simple. Someone in the Emperor's Heaven specially visited him in Lingshao Academy. If I kill him, will I cause unnecessary trouble to our Tianfu? If I want to kill him, I'm 70% sure one-on-one. If I want to stay alive, I need to formulate tactics with several brothers." When he heard the 3 words that Dragon Dust said he could fix him, the envoy almost didn't laugh. He had investigated Dragon Dust for a long time. He knew more about the strength of Dragon Dust than anyone. This guy in front of him wanted to fight with Dragon Dust without shame. He wanted to laugh, but he couldn't laugh. He was very uncomfortable. Until Long Chen finished his words, the old man said, "I know what you said. The Tianhuang dragon family is in the Emperor's Heaven. It is indeed a powerful existence. Even if it is as powerful as us, we are unwilling to provoke it. Especially at this time, We should not make enemies in many ways. However, some things are not our choice. In the past, we were not enemies with the Tianhuang dragon family, and we had some contacts secretly. However, not long ago, a man from the dragon family came and had some unpleasant things with us. Since then, the two sides have turned against each other, so your worry is superfluous. If you have the ability, you can directly kill Longchen. If you can really kill the dragon dust, I will not only fight for the 100 turns of heaven pill for you, but also give you the opportunity to practice in the Life Hunting God Palace. As for the Life Hunting Palace, you don't need to know much. You just need to know that the Life Hunting Palace is the most sacred place for the Life Hunting family. Life Hunters have hundreds of millions of Tianjiao, but the Life Hunting Temple recruits only 100 places a year, which is enough. Dragon Dust wanted to find out some details of the Heavenly Dragon family from the old man of the Divine Envoy. Unfortunately, the old man didn't seem willing to talk about the dragon family, and Dragon Dust couldn't help it. Well, all that should be said has been said. What else to ask? God made the old man see that the Dragon Dust had to speak, and immediately said, "Forget it. You ask too much and leave the opportunity to others." Dragon Dust had to shut up. As a result, as soon as Dragon Dust shut up, the strong people present sat there like wood one by one, and no one asked questions at all. Since no one asks, it means you all understand. Well, let me talk about the battle deployment. This action was jointly launched by the Blood-Killing Sect and the Soul-Killing Sect. The leader of the Blood-Killing Sect has made all preparations. When we receive our signal, we will break the formation of Lingshao Academy for the first time. We entered the academy from 4 directions. A group of people were responsible for indiscriminate killing, attracting each other's attention and pulling the front. When the dragon dust appears, don't be in a hurry and use the Life Hunting God crossbow to cover it in all directions. If it is not killed, the Life Hunting God crossbow will split and aim at the Dragon Blood Legion and shoot indiscriminately. At this time, Dragon Dust will either rescue the Dragon Blood Legion or rush to the periphery to destroy our Life Hunting God crossbow. If he rescues the Dragon Blood Legion, he will have no power to fight back. You people can find a gap and attack. That boy, didn't you say you wanted to kill the Dragon Dust yourself? Then your chance will come. As he spoke, he didn't forget to remind Longchen. He didn't know whether he was deliberately sarcastic or encouraging him. The envoy then said, it would be better if he came to destroy the Life Hunting God crossbow. When the Life Hunting Skynet is launched, he will fall into a trap and can't escape. Remember, our first goal is to kill the 2 girls, and the second goal is to kill the Dragon Dust. So at the first time of the battle, except for the team specialized in hunting the Dragon Dust, everyone else went to catch the 2 girls. Remember, we must live. This time the credit is all of us. We don't need to fight hard. If we kill those 2 girls in the process of fighting, we'll all be finished, okay? In order to be afraid of being robbed of credit by the following people, the envoy also deliberately accentuated his tone. Obviously, this situation has not appeared before. I see. Finally, the wood present all spoke, only these 2 words, they spoke very naturally. Well, let's start personnel deployment now. The Patriarch and the Life Hunting God crossbow are ready. The Divine Envoy watched the soul kill the Lord. It's all ready. There are 317 Life Hunting crossbows in total, all in good condition. 67,000 Life Hunting arrows have also been checked. There's absolutely no problem. I'll let someone move out of the treasure house now. The leader of Soul Killing Sect said. At this time, a figure ran up the platform in panic and whispered a few words in the ear of the Soul Killing Sect leader. At that moment, the face of the Soul Killing Sect leader suddenly changed. What? Asked the envoy. Moyanhuan overseas found suspicious people and surrounded us. Soul killing is the main way. Immediately use the Life Hunting crossbow and kill it violently. In order to prevent the leakage of the plan, kill it directly to Lingshao Academy. God made a quick decision. Don't worry, don't panic. It's just a group of thieves. Let me finish it. Just when everyone was about to take action, Long Chen stood up and waved to everyone to sit down. Everyone was stunned and looked at Long Chen one after another. Shut up, I've endured you for a long time. The god made the old man finally couldn't help but step into the air. The man appeared in front of the dragon dust like a flash of lightning. His big hands were open and his 5 fingers were like a hook, grasping the throat of the dragon dust. You old lamp, I have endured you for a long time. Seeing the old man flying, Long Chen raised his hand and slapped him. Pa! With a loud bang, the whole square echoed with a crisp slap in the face. The old man was slapped by dragon dust and flew out. What? At that moment, all the strong people in the square opened their mouths to the extreme. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47:31 The divine envoy was slapped by dragon dust, and all the strong people present were stunned. At the moment of dragon dust's hand, the lord of soul-killing sect was shocked and angry and shouted, "He's not one of us. He's a spy who sneaks in." At the moment of dragon dust's hand, it will naturally use the power of the flesh. The power of the flesh will activate and the blood will run naturally. Although there was the disguise of dragon bone evil moon, the patriarch was a strong man at the holy king level after all. His knowledge was not comparable to that of Qi Yufeng and Qianfeng. It was just a slight fluctuation of qi and blood. He immediately saw that Longchen was not a person of life-hunting family. Kill him, with the order of the Lord of Soul-Killing Sect. The strong hunters present disappeared in an instant, and the people in the whole square disappeared without a trace in an instant. Under the distortion of the surrounding space, a sharp sword stabbed at the dragon dust like a storm. Red dragon fighting body, open. With the sound of dragon dust, the violent power of qi and blood is like a volcanic eruption. An air wave takes dragon dust as the core and spews out around. The vigorous wind brought by the air wave destroyed the sky and the earth. Countless buildings on the square were destroyed in an instant. In the void, blood blossoms bloomed. Puff, puff. Countless strong hunters who killed Longchen were directly shocked into a blood mist by the smell of Longchen. Everything came so fast that people didn't have time to respond, so they were killed. Killers are good at sharp killing moves and strange body methods. Defense has always been their Achilles heel. Once caught, they have no ability to fight back. Boom! At the moment when Longchen summoned the red dragon to fight, a sharp sword pierced the void. The sharp sword chi had reached his chest, and Longchen's chest was cold. This is a unique sword of the life-hunting clan. If it is used by ordinary life-hunting clan disciples, Longchen can ignore it, but it is the leader of the soul-killing sect, the powerful Saint King and strong man. Longchen believes that this sword can pierce his chest. Try your knife. Seeing that the leader of soul-killing sect tried his best, Longchen held the handle behind him and cut it off. At the moment when the keel evil moon was cut off, a small rune on the blade lit up. Boom! With a bang, the long sword was cut to pieces by the dragon bone evil moon. The huge crescent on the blade came out of the body. The arm of the soul-killing sect leader, together with half of his body, was broken by a knife. The Lord of Soul-Killing Sect was shocked and quickly retreated. The dragon dust long knife didn't move. Pointing to the Lord of Soul-Killing Sect, he said, "The disciple made a mistake. You, the patriarch, should apologize with death." Buzz, on the Keel Evil Moon, another rune lights up, the Keel Evil Moon roars, and the knife chi shoots out from the blade tip. At that moment, the Keel Evil Moon seems to be stretched infinitely. Poof! As soon as the leader of the soul-killing sect retreated, he was pierced by the shadow of the knife. Boom! The sword shadow pierced his body, and the violent power made his breath instantly unbalanced, and his body burst open. The move of Keel Evil Moon was very cruel, which directly detonated the other party's essence and spirit, as if he suddenly blew himself up. The self-explosion of a Saint King-level strongman and the violent blood enveloped the whole square. Countless life-hunting strongmen were blown into nothingness before they knew what was going on. At this time, the dragon dust's heart was cold and his hair stood up. He broke his drink and turned his body. The evil moon in his hand cut off behind him. Boom! There was a startling explosion, and an arrow as long as Zhang Su and like a long gun was chopped by Longchen with a knife. With great power, Longchen's blood surged and flew out. What is it? Dragon Dust was shocked. The arrow was silent. If it wasn't for his strong perception, he might have been hit by the arrow at this time. If he was stabbed by this thing, he would lose half his life if he didn't die. Long Chen looked forward and saw a figure flash away in the void. The figure was not someone else, but the old man who was slapped by Long Chen. Before he disappeared, Long Chen saw a huge crossbow in his hand. At that moment, Long Chen blurted out, "Life-hunting crossbow." Dragon Dust finally thought of the artifact they mentioned before. At first, Dragon Dust didn't care much about it. Now he realized how terrible it was. It is a bit similar to Guaran's giant crossbow, but because the crossbow is made of special materials, its power is amazing and silent. Fortunately, he has a dragon bone evil moon. If it is other weapons, he can't resist this arrow at all. Hurry up, this guy is Dragon Dust. The god screamed angrily. When the Dragon Dust broke the life-hunting arrow with one knife, the disguise of the dragon bone evil moon also retreated, and the Dragon Dust showed his true face. The divine envoy immediately ordered to escape as soon as he saw that it was Dragon Dust. They are plotting to kill Longchen, and Longchen sits under them and listens. At this moment, the envoy is so angry that he wants to commit suicide. Is there anything more angry in the world? I said Dragon Dust taught me that I can handle it alone. Do you believe it this time? Long Chen shouted, his left hand stretched out, and an array plate was crushed by him in an instant. Buzz, when the array was crushed, the surrounding space was distorted in a large area, the heaven and earth seemed to be reversed, and the law of space was disturbed by a mysterious force. The transmission array is useless. Someone shouted in horror. Obviously, someone wanted to escape at the first time, but found that the transmission array could not be started. Fight with him and burn all blood souls. The envoy was so angry that he could not escape, so he had to fight to the death with Longchen. Buzzing, buzzing. It has to be said that the strong people of the life-hunting family are really brave and fearless of death. Burning blood souls is equivalent to overdrawing their lives, but they did not hesitate. As they burned blood souls, their breath soared in an instant, and tens of thousands of 9-star Destiny people came to the Dragon Dust at the same time. A group of false Destiny people are willing to show off. Today I'll show you the great moves of someone long. Dragon Dust carried the evil moon on his shoulder. He was just about to move. Buzz, the void trembled and figures appeared one by one, and Guaran rushed out first, crossed the world and crossed the first 3. Hey, wait a minute, wait until I finish the poem. Poof, a long sword was born in the air and broke the void. The old man, who was hidden in the void, was forced out by a sword. His old face was full of fear. Boss, this man gave it to me. Yu Zifeng pointed the long sword at the old man. At that moment, Ling Tianjian's intention had pressed the old man unable to move. I don't care. Dragon Dust stall way. Yu Zifeng always picked the strongest hand, and Dragon Dust would not fight for him. Although the life-hunting crossbow in the guy's hand was terrible, he had no chance to show it in front of Yu Zifeng. Boss, all the people outside have been solved. How's it going here? Xia Chen cried excitedly. When he said, here, his eyes lit up. Destroy the treasure house. As soon as Xia Chen's words fell, the envoy roared. Boom! Just then, with a loud noise, a palace in the distance burst into pieces. Xia Chen and Guaran were stunned at once, and then they roared sadly, You bastards, give us back our baby. However, before they tried their best, they saw a colored boulder appear. When they saw the colored boulder, even Longchen was surprised. What is this? You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4732. The boulder is in the shape of a goose egg with colored patterns on it. If you count carefully, you can see that it is composed of 6 different colors of patterns, with an ancient and mysterious atmosphere. As soon as it appeared, not only the Dragon Dust was stunned, but also the strong men of the God Envoy and the Life Hunter were stunned, because they had never seen it before. The palace is the treasure house of the Life Hunters. There are 2 keys to the treasure house. One is open and the other is destroyed. This is the tradition of the life-hunting clan and the means of major forces. If your family is destroyed, you'd rather destroy the treasures in the treasure house with yourself than take advantage of your enemies. But the palace was destroyed, but such a huge 6-color god stone jumped out. Everyone was stunned and didn't know what happened. It's nothing to be surprised. The old guy disguised his breath and cut. He really took off his pants and farted. It's unnecessary. The dragon bone evil moon disdains the tunnel. Hearing the dragon bone evil moon say so, Long Chen found that the heaven and earth tripod had disappeared in the soul space. The 6-color god stone of emotion was disguised by the heaven and earth tripod. It seems that it is relatively good face. It can't leave a name for doing bad things. The heaven and earth tripod refused to manifest its true body. It was only responsible for protecting the treasure house. When Long Chen saw it, he was determined and waved his hand. Brothers, let go and kill, and solve the battle in half a incense burning time. Kill. At this time, the Dragon Blood Legion has completely blocked the small world, and there are no worries at home. The Dragon Blood soldiers have shot one after another. Puff puff. Although the Life Hunting clan has a strong stealth ability, as soon as Xiaqin came in he detonated a blood-colored seal character, and translucent figures appeared in the void. This is the anti-stealth talisman Xiaqin studied for the Life Hunter's invisibility. Before they came in, Xiaqin used tens of thousands of invisibility talismans to cover the whole Moyun Magic Sea, and all the open and hidden sentries outside were killed. Hiss! At this time, the blood light splashed in the distance, Yu Zifeng cut off with a sword, and the god envoy left one arm away. Although he had a sharp sword, he couldn't stop Yu Zifeng's sharp sword move. Even the king-level strong man didn't see enough in front of Yu Zifeng. The killer was restrained by the swordsman. Zifeng, keep him alive. I want to ask him something. Dragon Dust Road. Ask Yuan %. Yu Zifeng cut off the arm of the god envoy holding the sword. Knowing that he was unlucky today, he yelled at Long Chen, "You little bastard, you are like your dead father. You wait. The Life Hunters will cut you thousands of times sooner or later." Boom! Suddenly, the breath of the god emissary sword, Yu Zifeng retreated rapidly, and the body of the god emissary exploded, and he burst himself. The power of the self-explosion of the strong man of the Holy King is to destroy the sky and the earth. This is his strongest blow. Unfortunately, this blow did not hurt Yu Zifeng, but shocked countless strong men of the hunting family into powder. Oh! Dragon Dust suddenly patted his thigh. At this time, he thought of Qian Feng. This guy is afraid of death. Maybe he can get some useful news from him. But when he looked for it, he found that Qian Feng's breath had disappeared, the small world had been blocked, and even a fly couldn't fly out. He couldn't escape. He probably didn't know who killed him. In less than half an hour, the battle was over, and the whole small world had been torn apart and almost burst open. When Longchen and others withdrew from the small world, Longchen was still in the small world and left a fire lotus to destroy the world, so there was no need to worry about missing fish. Disperse immediately and wait for the rabbit according to the original plan. Dragon Dust issued an order and everyone disappeared. However, after waiting for several hours, there was no movement around. Guoran and others looked at each other. It's different from what we expected. There's no one to support it? Forget it, then withdraw. It seems that they won't be fooled. Dragon Dust sighed. The Life Hunters are as cunning as foxes. They must have their own way to ask for help. I don't know anywhere else. Zhushezong will receive the news. However, the people who killed the clan in blood did not appear for a long time, which means that they have been alert and know that there may be a trap here, and they may even know what happened here. Long Chen told the crowd how he got in by chance. Hearing that the Life Hunters were so cautious, Guoran couldn't help saying, "Life Hunters are so cunning that they are difficult to deal with. Guoran, you should be interested in this thing." Yu Zifeng said something and threw Guoran a huge crossbow. Guoran reached out to take over the crossbow, which was cold and extremely heavy. If Guoran hadn't integrated the blood essence of the hidden dragon, he couldn't hold the crossbow. At this time, he still held the crossbow, his hands trembling and couldn't keep his balance. This is the old guy's thing. When it's aimed at me, my hair stands up. It's very dangerous. Yu Zifeng said. Yu Zifeng stopped the emissary. The emissary wanted to attack Yu Zifeng with a crossbow for the first time. Yu Zifeng shot at him and stabbed him in the wrist. The sword forced him to give up and was snatched by Yu Zifeng. Good guy, why is it so heavy? The old man said it seems impossible to have so much strength. Guo Ran was shocked. Long Chen explained, this is the life-hunting crossbow, which is the big killing weapon of the life-hunting family. I was shot by it. To be honest, it doesn't feel good. There is a special fluctuation of qi and blood on the life-hunting god crossbow. It should be activated and driven by the unique blood force of the life-hunting family. Activate with the power of blood? Thinking of this, Guo Ran's eyes lit up and looked at each other with Xia Chen. They looked at each other and smiled. Obviously, they wanted to go together. Boss, that treasure house? Guo Ran asked. Under the distortion of the void, a 10-foot square box appeared. The box is not gold or iron, but carved from a kind of stone. Ilgo, such a big world stone. Guo Ran and others were startled when they saw the box. The world stone is an extremely precious material. Long Chen and others have it in their hands, but the world stone in their hands is only the size of a palm. It's the first time to see such a big world stone. The treasure house of the Life Hunter is here. However, there is the seal of the Life Hunter on it. If you don't know how to open it, the treasure house will destroy itself immediately. Dragon Dust Road. It's nothing to me. Xia Chen smiled, looked at the seal carefully, took out the paper and pen directly, and drew a seal on the scene. When the seal character was pasted on the world stone trembled slightly, and a door appeared on it. When the door was opened in the summer morning, the scene in front of them made everyone take a cold breath. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4733. As soon as the door of the treasure house was opened, there were more than 300 life-hunting god crossbows facing the people. When faced by so many god crossbows, Long Chen felt a chill on his back. After careful counting, a total of 317 life-hunting crossbows and bundles of life-hunting arrows were counted, totaling more than 6,000. Seeing these life-hunting crossbows and the stone in the heart of Long Chen, he was able to put it down. But he learned the power of this thing. It's no joke. If there is a mental calculation without intention, this thing is likely to pose a great threat to the Dragon Blood Legion, which may lead to human life. This thing is a little scary. Guo Ran installed an arrow. Although it can't be launched, judging from its structure, we can also infer that its power is much stronger than his original golden crossbow. The key is that the arrow is made of special material and has terrible penetration. Ordinary holy soldiers will be crushed directly. Fortunately, it's ours now. All right, don't look at it. Go back and study it again. Dragon Dust Road. Long Chen is a little regretful. Now he has opened this treasure house, which makes Long Chen want to see what's in the treasure house of the Life Hunter. The treasure house is huge. In the hall of the treasure house, in addition to the life-hunting god crossbow, there are many war weapons and even some ancient armor that have never been seen. The ancient armor has an extraordinary origin. Even Dragon Dust wants to study it carefully. When Guo Ran and Xia Chen see it, they are like mosquitoes staring into the meat after autumn. There are countless portals around the treasure house. These are all in the storehouse. The things in the hall are all moved out of these small treasure houses. They are all killing weapons taken out in response to this battle. With excitement, Guo Ran collected the huge world stone. They inspected the surroundings again. After they found no trace of the strong hunter of the life-hunting family, they left directly. After Long Chen and others left, several hours later, transparent figures like water droplets slowly appeared on the earth. The plan failed. All plans for Lingshao Academy will be cancelled immediately and wait for the news from Emperor Huangtian. An old voice sighed. Those figures slowly disappeared into the ground, and the whole Moyun magic sea resumed its dead silence. A few hours later, a figure wearing a hat and a gray robe appeared. The man was no other than the mysterious man who revealed the news of the life-hunting family to Long Chen. It's a little interesting. It's really clean. It's a good knife if you make good use of it. The mysterious man, after talking to himself, left slowly, and his thin back gradually disappeared into the fog. Boss, what is the source of the man who reported to you? How did he get the news in such a hidden parliament of the life hunters? On the way back, Bai Xiala couldn't help saying. Others also have doubts. The defense of the life hunters is almost watertight. It can be seen that they have an extremely strict confidentiality system. Such important information is unlikely to be leaked. Long Chen shook his head and said, I don't know. Moreover, there is a disgusting smell on that mysterious guy. Although he disclosed the news of the life hunter to me, I don't think he is kind. But in any case, we have made a lot of money this time. We have not only breathed a sigh of relief for Luo Ning, but also inflated our pockets. It's more than a drum. I took a rough look. The treasure house is full of everything. We've seen and haven't seen. We really made a lot of money this time. Guo Ran was excited. Don't study those useless things first. Your first task now is to make some weapons for your brothers. Just now I saw Qin Feng cutting people with a serrated sword. Such a blunt sword can make the other party scream, but it can't kill the other party. If you let your brother use such a weapon, you'll lose Guo Ran's face. Long Chen smiled. Hey, boss, I don't see many people. I'm not willing to kill so quickly. It's actually quite good to kill with a blunt knife. Qin Feng smiled awkwardly and said, in fact, Qin Feng also has many weapons in his hand, but the long sword tailored by Guo Ran for them, even if it has been damaged, is easier to use than those weapons, so it has not been replaced. The reason why he took the sawtooth sword and chased a man to chop indiscriminately is that he caught a strong man of the life-hunting family, so he didn't want to kill him so quickly. He wanted to force him to find out more tricks to find out the means of the life-hunting family and accumulate experience. Therefore, there was the scene of Qin Feng's blunt knife cutting people. That scene was very bloody. After dozens of swords, the other party was not cut to death, but the blood and flesh on his body were scraped off. I haven't started before because I haven't collected the ideal materials and the sword embryo is still in the furnace. This time, the new materials arrive, which makes up for the shortcomings of the new weapon, which is more tenacious and less sharp. As long as these new materials are added to the sword embryo, it will be completely perfect. As soon as the sword embryo comes out, all the brothers' weapons can be replaced in 3 days. Guo Ran patted his chest. So fast? This time, it was Long Chen's turn to be surprised. Xia Chen said with a smile, Boss, you don't know. With your material support, Guo Ran transformed the weapon smelting furnace for the first time, and the way of making weapons is different from before. There are 8,000 abrasives in the smelter furnace. As long as the divine materials are sufficient, they can be directly injected into the abrasives after smelting, and they can be formed at one time. Then, after Guo Ran's secondary forging and my inscription, the divine soldiers can be released. After they are released, they need to be warmed up with their own mind and soul to give birth to the soul, that is, to form an instrument and spirit. When the weapon spirit is formed, these weapons are real holy soldiers. This is the way of refining weapons created by Guo Ran. It is completely different from the traditional way of refining weapons. It can be said to be unique and original. Of course, it is also inseparable from Xia Chen's planning and guidance, the support and encouragement of brothers, and your financial support. Guo Ran was unprecedentedly humble. Long Chen and others were still a little strange. When did this guy become so humble? It doesn't seem to be his style. This guy doesn't boast and people are not used to it. After all, his way of refining tools is really amazing. Therefore, this honor belongs to all of us. My personal efforts only occupy 99%. Guo Ran's next words turned everyone's surprise into contempt. Go away. Dragon Dust is not angry. As expected, the country is easy to change and its nature is difficult to change. After a circle, he came back again. What's going on? When Long Chen and others returned to the academy, they were startled. In front of the gate of the academy, there were a lot of people surrounded. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4734, You go first and you'll go down and have a look. In order not to expose the Dragon Blood Legion, Longchen asked Guoran to drive the flying boat directly into the inner courtyard. At present, only Longchen has this privilege. When the flying boat flew by, it suddenly attracted the attention of everyone present. Seeing the dragon dust coming down from the flying boat, countless strong men immediately surrounded it. Dean Longchen, you are not in the academy. What can I do for you? Longchen looked at these people and found that they were all new kings and strong ones, many of whom were destined by heaven, but the power of heaven was not strong, just like 5 or 6 stars. The appearance of these people was a little anxious. Before coming down, he even heard someone shouting. Longchen couldn't help feeling confused. President Longchen, now the major forces in the Emperor's heaven have begun to recruit talents, offered many favorable conditions and made various promises. But we always feel uneasy. We want to ask you if you can give us some suggestions. In this world, we believe in you most. A young man spoke sincerely. Longchen found that although the young man was childish, he was already a real 5-star destiny. As a genius like you, it's reasonable to say that all major forces will not refuse. Why don't you feel secure? Dragon Dust asked. Hearing Longchen's praise, the man was a little shy and said, Dean Longchen, you're joking. In front of you, who dares to claim to be a genius? The man's words immediately made countless people laugh, but what he said was indeed a fact. Although no one knew the battle of Longchen in front of the 9-Heaven Gate, the Life Hunters secretly attacked the academy and Longchen personally killed the 9-star destiny, which was witnessed by countless people. That's the 9-star destiny of the life-hunting family. It's the most terrible killer. The most important thing is that such a terrorist killer has no room to resist in front of Dragon Dust and is killed. The news shocked countless people. Many people thought that when the 9-star destiny appeared, the brilliance of Dragon Dust was likely to be obscured. Even if it is not covered, the Dragon Dust will be eclipsed in the face of the powerful 9-star destiny. However, it is found that these 9-star destiny in front of the Dragon Dust is like the light of fireflies competing with the bright moon. The gap is too big. For a time, more and more people worship Dragon Dust more. Therefore, now when it comes to genius, everyone laughs. In front of Dragon Dust, no one dares to use this title. After laughing, the young disciple said, Dean Longchen is like this. The major forces in the Emperor's heaven are recruiting people frantically. Our Qingyun sect in Qingyun Mountain is at most a second-rate force. But every day, there are powerful people from the Emperor and the heaven to visit, and even saint-level strong people come to the door in person. You know, our Lord is just the beginning of immortality. Through the disciples' narration, Longchen understood that the second-rate force of Qingyun sect was also patronized by countless strong people, so those first-class forces, let alone the threshold, would be leveled. According to his description, among the disciples of Qingyun sect, there are more than 70 heavenly beings. Only he has the highest talent, but he has been invited by countless forces. These disciples are powerful and take their disciples. Those disciples are even more terrible. They even have 8-star destiny. Their arrival makes them out of breath. However, these people were very polite. They not only came to the door, but also brought heavy etiquette, speech and behavior, but also put their posture very low, which confused these people. In the face of their promises and invitations, they feel like they are in a dream. However, after all, many forces have seen great storms and waves and are not willing to promise. They are still waiting and watching. As a result, more and more forces came, and they looked so hard that they didn't know how to make a decision in the face of so many invitations. It's a wasted opportunity for them. Yes, it's a big choice for them. At this time, the news that Longchen easily killed the destiny came out. Countless forces slapped their thighs. How could they forget Lingshao Academy? Dragon Dust can be said to be the strongest local person in their cognition. Many people want to see the attitude of Lingshao Academy and hope that Dragon Dust can give a good opinion. After all, the signboard of Lingshao Academy and the character of Dragon Dust are absolutely trustworthy. To join them, you have to sign a soul contract? This is a little too much. What's the difference between this and signing a deed of sale? Long Chen was stunned when he heard the news. Yes, we think so too. The reason they give is that they will spend countless financial and material resources to cultivate us in the future. They also need a guarantee, so as not to train us well, and they will lose everything if we run away. At this time, a female disciple forcibly squeezed over and said excitedly. Long Chen looked at the woman and found that she was brave enough to squeeze and rub among a group of men. She was not afraid of losing. When she squeezed in front of Long Chen, she finally saw the existence in the legend and could talk to it face to face, which made her very excited. Dragon Dust nodded and said, "It's true that they say so, but the key is what to do in case of being fooled. They say how good the emperor is and how strong his power is. The key is that everyone can't see it." Yes, that's the truth, so we're also afraid. Those who are related by blood don't matter. We can't. If we go, we may be treated as inferior. There is humanity. Obviously, everyone is worried about this problem. Let's not be angry. If they are really strong, they don't seem to come to you with such a low profile. It's a lot of deception. Long Chen apologized first and then said, "When everyone is stunned, this sentence is really heartbreaking, but it seems to be true. If the other party is strong enough, it should also deceive a strong person like Long Chen." Dean Long Chen, now the whole world is in chaos. We are anxious to see that so many people belong. However, we were afraid of being fooled, so we ran over to see if we could ask the dean for your advice. What should we do? A disciple said. In fact, you don't have to worry. You can wait until the emperor opens. Dragon Dust Road. But I'm afraid that by that time, when the quota of major forces is full, none of us will want it. They say that their recruitment quota is limited. The woman was a little anxious. Long Chen said with a smile, "Haha, don't listen to them. The situation of the emperor is not optimistic. Therefore, they urgently need to strengthen themselves. That's why they are so polite to the virtuous corporal. You'd better wait for the emperor to open. It'll give you a reassurance first." Lingxiao Academy also has its own place in the emperor. If you can't find a place to stay in the emperor's heaven, come to our Lingxiao Academy at any time. If you find a better place, it's not too late to make a choice. Really? It's very kind of you, Dean Long Chen. Hearing Long Chen's words, the strong people present were greatly excited. Long Chen's commitment directly relieved them of their worries. Dean Long Chen, you are so handsome. The crowd cheered. Dean Long Chen, I want to give you a baby. The woman standing in front of Dragon Dust was furious. How can a woman say such shameless words? Can you point your face? Then she said, "Is there any first come first served? Don't you see me in the first place?" Long Chen's scalp was numb for a while. Now the women are too tough. Long Chen fled and left, and the strong men gathered at the gate of the academy also dispersed. What Long Chen doesn't know is that his promise has offended countless forces at once. The day after Long Chen just released his promise, someone came to the door angrily. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4735, Call Your Dean Out. In front of Lingxiao Academy, people were surrounded again. This time, different from the last time, these people were aggressive one by one, just like dragon dust planed their ancestral tombs. Their faces showed fierce light one by one, and they wanted to bite people. Sorry, President Long Chen is busy. If you want to see the president, you need to make an appointment in advance and wait for the approval before arranging a meeting. During this time, even the guards at the gate of the academy have been numb. After seeing all kinds of big scenes, now they are not shocked, only calm. When the strong hunters came, they watched dragon dust kill everywhere. Today's Lingxiao Academy is full of confidence. Although the high-level people are not there, Lingxiao Academy has a thriving scene from top to bottom. The strong people of the older generation are almost gone, and the rest are basically responsible for maintaining the behind-the-scenes work. Most important positions in the academy are undertaken by the younger generation. It can be said that the whole Lingxiao Academy has a new atmosphere. With the super strong dragon dust, Lingxiao Academy has more confidence than in the past. The receptionist at the door is neither humble nor arrogant in the face of any strong person. Even if the Holy King comes, he must act according to the rules. In the past, they would never dare to think about it, but now that Long Chen is in charge of the academy, the disciples in the academy feel proud from the bottom of their hearts. Originally, the reception of the academy was the responsibility of the older generation of strong people. After all, they were old and prudent and were not easy to get angry. However, after receiving the strong people of the dragon family last time, Long Chen felt that this was not possible and directly replaced all the older generation. Long Chen put down his words. Lingxiao Academy is hospitable, but there are also good and evil guests. If you encounter evil guests, you don't have to get used to their problems. You can directly persuade them to leave. If you refuse to leave, you can directly ask someone to clean up. Now when evil guests come to the door, the disciples in charge of receiving them, instead of being angry, have a trace of sympathy for these people, because they are so arrogant now and desolate later. What do you mean? Just think you can't shrink out? If you smash someone else's pot, you can be safe? A holy king shouted angrily. It turned out that the dialogue between Long Chen and those young people yesterday spread in an instant. Many forces who did not know how to make a choice immediately calmed down and felt that Long Chen was right. They could wait until the door of 9 days was fully opened before making a decision. You can't just see others draw a peach, you have to see it yourself. In addition, Long Chen also said that Lingxiao Academy also has a territory in the Emperor's Heaven. If they enter the Emperor's Heaven and have nowhere to go, they can temporarily live in Lingxiao Academy without fear of being swallowed up by major forces or attacked by demons and monsters. No one will question the promise of Long Chen. Even without the identity of the president of Lingxiao Academy, the name of Long Chen alone is a gold-lettered signboard. As a result, countless forces became objective and calm, and were no longer eager to choose, which made countless forces from the Emperor and Heaven suddenly furious. Mingming has laid the groundwork almost. Seeing that the water is about to open, Long Chen has come to a drastic draw. Can they not hate Long Chen? Your voice doesn't need to be so loud. After all, we are young and deaf. If we keep your voice down, we can hear it. Our dean said that he asked us to be calm and not impatient. Yelling will only appear uncivilized and people will laugh at us. The disciple in charge of reception is not slow. You're a small minion. How dare you be presumptuous? The holy king and strong man almost didn't die of anger. A small college disciple dared to sneer at him like this. Your words are different. Dean Long Chen said that the academy is not only the academy of the world, but also the academy of each and every one of us. In front of positions, no matter high or low, in front of truth, no matter old or young, high or low. Many times, the height is the same, whether it's the dean or the factotum. Both the president and the minions strive to jointly create a civilized and harmonious environment. Sir, as a strong man with a lot of beard, he has lived for endless years. In terms of consciousness, he is far inferior to me, let alone our president. With your mind and vision, you actually want to see our dean? If I didn't say you'd better not humiliate yourself. The disciple spoke softly. I have to say that Long Chen picked people accurately. Although the disciple's strength was not strong, he was eloquent. He swore and didn't spit dirty words. His words made the other party speechless. You want to die? The old man became angry and wanted to do it. Facing the roaring Saint King and strong man, the disciple was not afraid at all and said faintly, I advise you not to do it, although once you do it, I will die without doubt. But if you kill me, our dean will surely take your life and avenge me. Originally, one life for another. It's cost-effective to use my life for the life of a holy king. But I don't think so. I'm only 37 this year. It's a great time. Following President Long Chen, I have unlimited opportunities in the future. And you are a bad old man in your twilight years. If I die with you, I still think I have some losses. Therefore, I don't want to die, and I guess you don't want to die, so don't get excited. Think about it first and then do it. The holy king and strong man was trembling with anger. Originally, he just wanted to scare the boy. As long as he scared him away, it would be all right. After all, he found some face. However, when the boy said this, he was in a dilemma. If he didn't do it, it proved that he was afraid. If he did, he really didn't dare to kill the boy. There are many strong people here, all of whom came to Longchen to discuss. At this time, the old man immediately regretted being a leading bird. I knew it would be better to let others stand out. But at this time, he was already riding a tiger. Watching the disciples in different expression, he seemed to be a silent ridicule. His anger surged up in a moment, and his big hand was like a hook, grasping at the disciple's throat. At that moment, he figured out why he wanted to kill him. It was enough to humiliate him. In this way, he saved his face. At the moment of his action, the disciple finally showed a look of panic on his face. In the face of the holy king and the strong, it was false to say that he was not nervous. After all, there was only one life. If he lost it, it would be gone. He immediately turned and ran away. But at the moment of his running, he was shocked to find that the space was distorted, and he could not help leaning towards the holy king. The difference in strength was so great that he didn't even have a chance to escape. "Old man, you'll regret it." Seeing that he could not escape, the disciple clenched his teeth and roared. At this time, the guard disciples of the academy took out their weapons and tried to save the disciple, but they couldn't even pierce the old man's body shield, so they couldn't help getting angry. Hiss! The old man's hand, which was about to cut through his neck, caught the old man's blood. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4736, What a terrible sword, someone exclaimed. The holy king's strong hand was bleeding, and his palm was cut a big hole by the sword chi, which was almost cut off. You know, it's the sword chi, not the blade. Relying on the sword chi alone, it can break the body protection and divine brightness of the Saint King and the strong, and can also hurt each other. How powerful is the flesh of the strong man of the holy king? When he takes the hand, his strength is concentrated on the palm of his hand, and he is hurt by the sword chi. How terrible is the person who takes the hand? I know. It must be the first swordsman of the Dragon Blood Corps. His name seems to be Yu. By the way, his name is Yu Zifeng. Someone exclaimed. Yu Zifeng, head of the 4th Army of the Dragon Blood Corps, is known as the strongest swordsman. Although these people are all from the Emperor, they are not unfamiliar with Yu Zifeng's name and thought of him in a moment. With him, we also deserve the action of our army commander. If it is the action of our army commander, can he still live? Just then, a sneer came, and a figure wearing strong clothes and carrying a long sword appeared. As soon as that figure appeared, the former disciple in charge of reception was overjoyed. Brother Qin Feng, you can count. These guys are very fierce. The visitor is no one else, but Qin Feng of the Dragon Blood Corps. However, Qin Feng at this time is completely different from him in Moyun Magic Sea. In the Moyun Magic Sea, he has successfully advanced to the 9-star destiny, but now his destiny fluctuates and is too weak, even at the level of the 5-star destiny. For you, the old man looked at the wound on his palm and wondered. Qin Feng, an ordinary soldier in the Dragon Blood Corps. The Qin wind is faint. Did you just do it? The old man asked. What do you think? Qin Feng asked. As like as 2 peas in the eyes of the former student, he looked at him with a scorn look, and his anger was kindled in a moment. A group of shady things. What's the ability to stab people in the back? It's kind of a fair fight. The old man saw that Qin Feng was just a 5-star destiny. He didn't believe that Qin Feng had just made a move and thought it was dragon dust playing tricks in the dark. In the face of the old man's roar, Qin Feng shook his head and said, They all say that frogs can't speak of the sea and summer insects can't speak of ice. You're from the Emperor and heaven. You should have seen the world, but you can't even see who did it. You want to see our boss too? Asshole die. The old man was so angry that he smashed his fist at Qin Feng. When he punched out, the strong wind roared and the air waves rolled, and the whole gate of the courtyard was shaking. It can be seen that the old man couldn't care about anything under his rage. Choke, poof, When the long sword came out of its sheath, the endless vigorous wind was cut off by a purple lightning. At the same time, an arm burst out. This time, everyone was shocked. They all saw clearly that the old man's arm was cut off by Qin Feng's sword. Hiss, 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 Qin Feng cut his wrist with one sword, and the sword qi surged. His arm flying in the air was cut into several pieces by 3 swords. Choke! When the long sword entered the scabbard, the old man was shocked and angry. He even forgot to stop bleeding when holding the broken arm. He looked at Qin Feng and looked incredulous. At this time, Qin Feng's heart was dark and cool. Looking at an insignificant ring on his index finger, he sighed in his heart, Boss Guoran's ring is powerful. It's great to dress up as a pig and eat a tiger. It turned out that after the Dragon Blood soldiers were promoted to 9-star destiny, Longchen wanted to expose them and let Guoran create a batch of hidden breath rings to control their destiny breath in the appearance of 5-star destiny. This is the result of their insidious move, but the old one is not deceived. He could not believe that a 5-star destiny could break his holy king's law. He was completely stunned at the moment when his arm was cut off. The sharp sword cut off his arm like a radish. He didn't even feel the pain. His arm left his body. He couldn't imagine how sharp the sword was. But Qin Feng shot too fast. He didn't see the shape of the sword. He only saw the purple divine light passing through the void, and everything was over. Now can you calmly say your purpose? After Qin Feng stunned everyone with a sword, he felt a faint tunnel. You! The old man's arm was cut off by a sword. He was shocked and angry. At the same time, he also felt great fear. He couldn't see the man in front of him. He gnashed his teeth and said, Well, I'll remember. Let's settle accounts when you arrive at the Emperor's heaven. Poof! The old man had just finished his cruel words, but unexpectedly, the pleasant-looking Qin Feng suddenly showed his killing opportunity in his eyes and cut it out with a sword. A thread of blood extended from the middle of the old man's eyebrows to his crotch. He looked at Qin Feng in horror and pointed to Qin Feng with his big hand. He seemed to want to say something, but he opened his mouth, and then the whole person was divided into 2 halves. Our Dragon Blood Legion doesn't hold grudges. We revenge on the spot. We don't have time and patience to wait. When Qin Feng finished, he shook his sword and pointed to all the strong men in the audience. Our Dragon Blood Corps never makes trouble, but we are never afraid of anything. If you want to make trouble with us, just stand up and I, Qin Feng, will accept the challenge of all of you. Qin Feng's long sword tilted and his killing intention soared. At this time, people saw the shape of Qin Feng's long sword. It was a fierce long sword. There were dragon patterns on the handle and 2 dragon teeth on the handguard. On the slender sword, there were pieces of dragon scales. The whole body of the sword is uneven and looks very rough, but it is rough with wild and domineering. The blade is purple and glitters with divine brilliance. The sharp spirit comes to your face. Looking at the blade makes people feel cold. Being pointed by it, everyone feels like a sharp sword hanging on their head. Once the sword is cut off, it is the end of their life. Even if these people are from the Emperor and heaven, they are all people who have seen the world, but they are pressed by Qin Feng's sword. In the end, these strong men didn't even dare to fart, so they all walked away in frustration. They came fiercely and castrated in a hurry. It can be said that they were extremely embarrassed. Cut! A bunch of cowards. A sword startled everyone. Qin Feng took back his long sword and ran straight to the depths of the academy until he came to an underground secret room in the back mountain. All the people of the Dragon Blood Corps were here. They were watching Guoran intently. Guoran was holding a casting hammer in his hand and falling like raindrops. Dang dang. Guoran smashed hundreds of times in one breath. Long Chen and others held their breath and watched quietly. Everyone looked nervous. When Guoran's last hammer fell, a long sword jumped up from the casting platform, and the purple halo and gorgeous divine light filled the whole secret room in an instant. Success! At this time, Guoran shouted excitedly, and Longchen and others couldn't help cheering. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4737. At this time, as like as 2 peas in the past, he used a long sword in the dragon's dust, but he was more spiritual than ever before, and could even feel his life fluctuating. When the long sword entered the hands of Long Chen, the long sword produced a strange rhythm, fluorescence flow, thousands of ruate sigh, and the whole secret room seemed to enter a dream world. What a beautiful sword, Bai Shishir couldn't help but praise. It was the first time she saw such a beautiful long sword. Guoran wiped the sweat on his face and said excitedly, "Shit, I finally succeeded. With this long sword, Guoran can be based in the Forest of Masters, but it is inseparable from Xia Chen's help and boss. Of course, our credit is only 1 in 10,000, and the rest is all yours." Dragon Dust couldn't help but pie his mouth. Long Chen's words immediately made everyone laugh. This time Guoran laughed a little embarrassed. "No kidding, Xia Chen is the most helpful to me. He takes at least half of the credit." Xia Chen smiled and didn't say anything, but Guoran told the truth. Xia Chen helped a lot with the design, refining methods and materials of weapons this time. If Guoran was alone, he couldn't do it. However, Xia Chen is indifferent and doesn't care much about these. Looking at the long sword in the hands of Long Chen, his eyes are full of pride. This sword represents the highest level of him and Guoran at present. They have little confidence in whether they can surpass it in the future. Is my sword semi-finished? At this time, Qin Feng pulled out his long sword and looked at the bright and vibrant long sword in Long Chen's hand. He suddenly felt that the baby in his hand was not fragrant. Qin Feng's sword was just made by Guoran, so he gave it to Qin Feng to try. Guoran gave Qin Feng 2 things. One is the hidden breath ring and the other is the long sword. After testing, Qin Feng was very satisfied, but when he came back and saw the long sword in Long Chen's hand, he was a little confused. It's not a semi-finished product, but a waste product. "Shit, it hurts me." Guoran was distressed. "Waste products? Boss Guoran, you're not bragging." Qin Feng was stunned. "Is such a sharp sword a waste?" "What, that's right. Am I a boaster?" Speaking of this, Guoran felt that he was lacking in confidence. "Even if I like blowing occasionally, how can I joke about such serious things? The sword in your hand is really a waste product. The most hateful thing is that this material must be formed at one time. If it fails, there will be no chance to return it. In other words, it can only be thrown away." "How can it be? I think it's very strong." Qin Feng stared and said, "It's useless to be strong. It has no soul. It's destined to be a dead thing, no room for growth, and can't resonate with you. Although it is made of the best materials, it has its own bearing limit." Guoran took the sharp sword in Qin Feng's hand and looked very painful. Although Guoran is a fool on weekdays, he is absolutely meticulous in casting, and he can't tolerate any defects, which is almost to a degree of metamorphosis. There are 999 hammers on both sides of the long sword. The power of each hammer must be exactly the same. The power of the last hammer is to connect all hammer marks together, inject specific runes into them, wake up each hammer mark, resonate with each other and form life waves. This is a kind of avenue and very great. The dragon dust stroked the long sword and admired the tunnel on his face. The scales on the long sword are actually hammered out by Guoran. They are uniform in size and arranged neatly without any error. They are perfect. The last hammer is the finishing touch of the dragon and gives it life. This technique is amazing. Even the dragon dust admires it. What's as like as 2 peas in the Qin Win's hand, but the last hammer has been out of order, and it failed to finish the finishing. So, it has been abandoned, and there is no possibility of repair and remelting. This is why Guoran's so heartache. Guoran's heartache is not material, nor time and effort, but that he treats every weapon as a child. If he fails, he is dead in the womb. That feeling can't be understood by others. If you can fail once, you will find the right way. This is already a genius among geniuses. Don't lose heart. Dragon Dust comforted. In fact, I'm not discouraged. I just want to hear your praise and boast. Ha! Guoran suddenly burst into laughter. The laughter was so arrogant that this guy changed his face so fast that he was really good at playing. Long Chen was so angry that he wanted to cut his sword, but the sword was too sharp. Even if Guo Ran had triple armor, he might not be able to resist it. Long Chen didn't dare to start. Everyone was speechless for a while. This guy was like a madman. Sometimes he couldn't understand him in an ordinary way. By the way, Qin Feng, what's going on outside? At this time, the dragon dust remembered things outside. A mob came to play tricks and make an example, and then they all ran away. Qin Feng said with a smile. Well done. The first sword belongs to you. Long Chen said something and handed the sword to Qin Feng. Qin Feng was overjoyed and was about to take it, but Xia Chen said, this sword hasn't been inscribed yet. After my inscription, it will be a real magic weapon. Well, let's work together. I believe the 9-day world will open soon. This time, I'm afraid we're going to kill it. Dragon Dust smiled. Then let the name of our Dragon Blood Legion ring through the Emperor. The people laughed and were full of pride. Now they are all 9-star destiny and have the weapons to take advantage of. It's time to fight in the Emperor's heaven. Many people can't wait. Guo Ran's casting utensils and Xia Chen's inscriptions. For the rest of the people, Long Chen gave them pills. However, Long Chen told them not to rush to improve the realm, because they are the 9-star destiny and the controller of Dragon Blood. They need to balance the power between the two. Otherwise, it is easy to have problems if they only pursue the realm. Long Chen returned to his closed place and began to swallow a lot of pills. Although Qian Kunding said that his promotion would be very difficult, Long Chen still didn't expect it to be so terrible. After swallowing 18 cylinders of pills, the dragon dust finally broke through to the heaven of Shenzhen. At that moment, the dragon dust not only was not excited, but took a breath of air conditioning instead. That's a top-notch golden pill. A pill can make an ordinary practitioner improve 2 or 3 small realms, and he can measure it not by pill, but by jar. Thinking of the number of horrors needed by Jichangshan, Long Chen seems to see a 10,000-mile-high mountain. Long Chen is desperate. Why don't you eat the dead? No, boss, Xiaola was beaten. Go and have a look. Just then, someone summoned. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4738. Long Chen was shocked and angry when he heard the news. Originally, he held his stomach full of fire because of alchemy. Now he rushed out immediately after hearing the news. As soon as his divine knowledge was swept away, he felt the breath of Bai Xiaola. The thunder wings trembled behind the dragon dust, and people galloped away like lightning. In the east of Lingshao Academy, the dragon dust felt a terrible breath, which was the breath of the Holy King and the Strong. Boom boom. The mountains have crumbled, and the void is full of cracks. Behind Bai Xiaola, the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox manifests itself. Between heaven and earth, 2 huge pupils lock the heaven and earth. At the place where the 2 pupils overlap, a tall figure wearing a cloak and covering his face pressed his big hand against the void. He forced himself with one hand and exhaled. Boom, a startling explosion broke out, and the 2 overlapping pupils burst in an instant. Bai Xiaola screamed. His pupils overflowed with blood, but he didn't shrink back. He suddenly jumped on the eyebrow of the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox, and the whole person stuck it tightly. Then his eyes closed and there was no breath. Boom! At this time, the breath of purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox soared rapidly. At that moment, their souls merged. Purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox shouted angrily, tore the void with sharp claws, and went straight to the man to grasp it. Boom boom. You are impetuous and disorganized. Is that all you can do? The man in the cloak sneered, and his voice was full of sarcasm. Hearing the man's sarcasm, Long Chen was furious. Without saying a word, he held the Keel Evil Moon behind him. At the moment he held the handle of the Keel Evil Moon knife, his huge killing intention locked the man wearing a cloak in an instant. Holding grass, the man who was fighting with the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox suddenly screamed. At this time, the dragon dust's Keel Evil Moon crossed the heaven and earth, and the violent will to open the sky swept the heavens and changed the color of heaven and earth. "You fool!" the man shouted in horror. Suddenly, his hands quickly formed seals. In a flash, hundreds of seals were formed in one breath. "Ghosts seal the sky." The man broke his drink. Behind him emerged a monster with 2 horns, long hair falling on his feet and wearing ancient robes. As soon as the monster appeared, the ghost gas soared between heaven and earth, and the whole world seemed to enter hell. The appearance of the monster happened to be the last seal made by the man. The monster closed his hands, and countless ghost-like virtual shadows appeared in the void. They formed a huge seal in the void and sealed the sky. Boom! With a bang, the huge seal was broken by Long Chen's knife, and the long knife went straight to the man's face. I saw the man's hands slam together and firmly clamped the blade of Keel Evil Moon. Bang! The long knife stopped 3 inches from the man's face, but the terrible strong wind directly shattered his cloak and revealed his angry face. When he saw that face clearly, Long Chen's angry expression at first turned into amazement, because the man was an acquaintance. "Are you crazy? Killing people? Killing people? Killing everyone? Do I have a grudge against you?" The man roared angrily. He wanted to kill Long Chen. "Deputy Hall Lord, how could it be you?" Long Chen was stunned. Rao was resourceful and became a little overwhelmed at this time. The man was no one else, but Bai Zhantang, Bai Shaole's father, the deputy head of the God of War Hall, which had disappeared for a long time. At that moment, Long Chen was stunned. "Why can't it be me? If I were someone else, I would have been hacked to death by you?" Bai Zhantang was so angry that his spittle was sprayed on the face of dragon dust. Long Chen didn't expect that the man who laid heavy hands on Bai Shaole was Bai Shaole's father and his future father-in-law. In the face of Bai Zhantang's drinking and scolding, Long Chen didn't dare to answer back. "I came to support after I received the news that Bai Shaole was attacked." Long Chen has some grievances. He doesn't know who sent him the news. He doesn't make it clear. This misunderstanding is big. Even if you are arrogant, you can't cut off your future father-in-law. After all, you have to marry someone else's daughter. I'm the one who tipped off the news. I deliberately didn't let the people who reported the news tell Long Chen the truth. At this time, a woman came out in the distance. It was Bai Shishir, not someone else. "You." Bai Zhantang was so angry that he almost didn't come up at one breath. His hands trembled. It said that girls are outgoing. The old saying is really right. "Oh, you're cruel." Long Chen's blow was too fierce just now. If he hadn't used his unique skill at the critical moment, Long Chen's knife would have killed him half. "Who let you only know how to bully Shaola?" White poetry is cold and cold. Bai Zhantang was stunned. He looked at Bai Shishir and Bai Shaola. He said, "You care about him? Why can't you care about me? What else can you do besides bullying me?" Bai Shaola wiped the blood on his face and said angrily, "Now my boss is here. You can do it with him." Only then did Long Chen understand that the feeling was that Bai Zhantang came back. It should be the first time to test his son, but he didn't know why. He was so cruel to Bai Shaola. Bai Shishir really couldn't see it anymore. He asked someone to report to Long Chen and deliberately didn't say who it was. As a result, Long Chen was angry and didn't say anything. He came up with a cruel move. As a result, he almost split his future father-in-law alive. Long Chen couldn't cry or laugh for a moment. "Dad, is he you?" At this time, the battle was over, and Zitong Jue Demon Fox stood on Bai Shaole's shoulder with a touch of shock on his small face. "No wonder he wants to give us such a heavy hand." "Sorry, I didn't know before. I shouldn't have said that." "What did you say?" Dragon Dust asked. The purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox's small claws spread out, some embarrassed tunnel. I said, "Beat him to his knees and call." Speaking of later, the purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox was really embarrassed. He covered his face with his little claws before he finished his words. Holding grass, Dragon Dust almost spits out his old blood. No wonder the White Exhibition Hall is so cruel that he will be beaten half to death. We have to completely distinguish who is Lao Tzu and who is Sun. This generation can't be different. Bai Shishir still looks indifferent. Obviously, she won't apologize to her father, and Bai Xiaola is not satisfied with gnashing her teeth. Only the little fox buries his head and doesn't dare to look at people. Obviously, it knows that the dispute is caused by it. It knows it's wrong and doesn't dare to speak again. The dragon dust had to harden his head and said with a smile, "Lord Deputy Hall, you don't say hello when you come back. Everything is a misunderstanding. Please calm down. Xiao Jiao is not sensible. I'm sure you won't care about it. However, you can see that Xiao Le's progress is huge. You should be happy." When Long Chen said this, Bai Zantang's anger disappeared a lot. Bai Xiaole's growth was absolutely amazing. Even if he had to exert all his efforts to suppress him, he would be happy if his son was promising. Of course, he won't be angry with Xiao Jiao. He is angry because Bai Shishir deceives the dragon dust to cut him, which makes him a little unhappy. After all, he has always been dissatisfied with his future son-in-law. Now, seeing Long Chen smile, he was not easy to attack again, so he had to hum. His strength has indeed increased a lot, but his temper has increased. He doesn't want to be a son and wants to be Lao Tzu. Fortunately, I am no longer the former cultivation, otherwise I will not be bullied to death. By the way, Deputy Hall Lord, how did you improve your cultivation to this level? At this time, Long Chen asked with a shocked look, because the Lord of the Deputy Hall at this time was already a strong Saint King, which was really amazing. Okay, this is not the place to talk. Go back to the academy. Bai Zhantang said that and left with a cold face. As soon as Long Chen winked at Bai Xiaola didn't dare to disobey Long Chen and had to follow him. But Bai Shishir didn't want to follow. She wanted to leave, but she was held by Long Chen. Bai Shishir blushed. Although she was very reluctant, she was pulled by Long Chen. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4739. In one room, there were 4 people, Bai Zhantang, Bai Xiaola, Bai Shishir and Long Chen. The atmosphere was a little awkward. 3 of the 4 people didn't look very good. Obviously, Bai Exhibition Hall is still holding a stomach of fire, while Bai Xiaola is still dissatisfied with it. Bai Shishir still looks cold. Only Long Chen poured tea to several people as if nothing had happened and pushed a cup of tea in front of Bai Exhibition Hall. It is reasonable to say that Long Chen should have come with tea, which is polite, but Bai Zhantang doesn't like to see Long Chen and doesn't admit that Long Chen is his son-in-law. Naturally, Long Chen doesn't have to receive him as a younger generation. According to his position, Long Chen is the president of the branch, and his status is higher than that of the deputy hall leader of the White Exhibition Hall. The action of Long Chen is not rude. Deputy Hall Lord, what's the situation over there? Dragon dust positive colorway. When asked about the situation there, Bai Zhantang looked a little serious and said, not very good. Our Emperor Huangtian branch was occupied by countless powerful monsters outside the sky, and the foundation was badly corroded. We can't recapture the branch for a while. So strong? Can't even the Lord of the Temple do anything? Long Chen was shocked when he heard this. The Lord wants to attack, but the Dean thinks the time is not ripe and should not be rash. Let's see the situation first. When we entered the Emperor's Queen, we could only find a temporary foothold and built a simple fortification, which can be regarded as a temporary settlement. The Dean is worried about the situation here. Let me come back and have a look. When the door of 9 days is opened, I will take you there. Beishantang Road. We are very good here. Even if you don't come, the boss can take us in. Bai Xiaola said, obviously beaten by his father. He was very unconvinced. This is what your mother gave you too. Put it away by yourself. Bai Zhantang stood up, left 2 boxes, turned and left. Only 3 people were left in the room, staring at the 2 boxes. Look what my mother brought me. Bai Xiaola's child's temperament. When he saw the gift, he was immediately excited. He grabbed the box in front of him and opened it directly. Buzz. When the box was opened, a ball the size of an egg came into view. Judging from its material, it was made of metal. It was silver white and looked strange. What is this? Bai Xiaola was stunned. This is... When he saw the silver ball, The purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox on Bai Xiaole's shoulder was surprised. Xiaole, drop a drop of blood and try it. Bai Xiaole listened to Xiao Jiu's words and dropped a drop of blood on the silver ball. Soon, the drop of blood was absorbed by the ball. I saw the silver ball suddenly burst open, forming countless silver scales the size of rice grains, so floating in front of Bai Xiaole. This is a spirit soldier. It is a spirit soldier specially made for pupils. The little fox is a little excited. From his excited look, we can see that this is a treasure. Spirit soldier, what's that? Bai Xiaole looked dazed. Who? Suddenly, the little fox's claws trembled, and the endless silver scales magnified in an instant, wrapping Bai Xiaole and the little fox together, as if they were covered with silver armor in an instant. This thing is fun. Seeing this scene, Bai Xiaole shouted in surprise. You know a fart. This is the supreme treasure. It is said that the casting skill of the spirit soldier has been lost. Otherwise, do you think Boss Guaran won't make a magic soldier for us? The little fox is not angry. Ooh, I don't know how the little fox did it. Those scales were peeled off from the two people. The scales were rapidly enlarged and elongated, and tens of thousands of sharp swords were formed. It doesn't seem that the sharp sword made by Guilaican is worse than the sword made by Guilaican. Good guy, so powerful. Bai Xiaole screamed. Who? Suddenly, the countless sharp swords narrowed and formed feathers, which appeared behind Bai Xiaole and formed two silver wings. Wow, that's great. Bai Xiaole shouted excitedly, just like a child who got a novel toy. Stop yelling. Let's find a place where there is no one and study how to use this thing carefully. The little fox was also excited. The two guys ran away without even saying hello to Long Chen. In the room, only Long Chen and Bai Shishir were left. Long Chen smiled at Bai Shishir and motioned her to open the box. Bai Shishir shook his head stubbornly. I don't want what he gave me. Why? Dragon Dust couldn't help asking. No, why, just don't like him. Bai Shidao. Long Chen is a little confused. He doesn't understand why Bai Shishir hates his father so much. Then he'll open it. Long Chen asked tentatively. If you want to open it, you can open it. Your hand is yours. What can I do? Bai Shishir rarely shows a little daughter's posture, and Bai takes a look at Long Chen. In her eyes, Long Chen immediately understood that people have curiosity, especially women. They say that cats have 9 lives, and women's curiosity will kill cats. In fact, Bai Shishir wants to see it, but she can't save face. Click, Dragon Dust opened the small box and turned out to be a pair of golden wristbands. The pair of golden wristbands are high and ancient in shape, beautiful in elegance and noble in beauty. When the Dragon Dust opened the box, the whole room was filled with golden light, and the power of gold between heaven and earth became extremely active for a moment. It's just a pair of wristbands. What's good to see? Bai Shishir looked at it and turned his head. However, soon she turned her head and looked again. The wrist guard was exquisite and elegant, noble and graceful. It was difficult for a woman to stop its temptation. Most importantly, Bai Shishir felt the powerful summoning force. When the golden wrist guard appeared, even her golden long sword had a strong fluctuation. Obviously, this wrist guard is a pair of precious children. Bai Shishir is a metal cultivator. This pair of wrist guards is tailor-made for her. She wants to pretend to be proud and don't look at it, but she can't refuse her instinct. And Long Chen looked at the pair of wristbands, but he couldn't help sighing. In his eyes, there was a touch of complex color. What's the matter? Why do you sigh suddenly? Bai Shishir asked. The Lord of the Vice Hall sent you this wrist guard. It's really well-intentioned. Dragon Dust Road. It's just a pair of wristbands. What's the purpose? Bai Shishir was unconvinced and said, this pair of wristbands should be sent by my mother or Ernyang. What does it have to do with him? Just because he sent them, should I thank him? Your father almost shook his head, but your mother didn't lose your life. What? Bai Shishi's face finally changed, and her eyes were full of shock. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4740, These 2 wristbands have been wiped repeatedly and are very clean. Dragon Dust looked at the wrist guard. Dragon Dust, what's going on? Hurry up. Seeing that Long Chen suddenly talked about something else, Bai Shishir couldn't help feeling a little anxious. Long Chen looked at the wrist guard and continued, every rune gap in the wrist guard has been wiped clean without leaving any dead corners. Dragon Dust, I'm angry if you sell off again. Bai Shishir is annoyed. Long Chen ignored her and continued to look at the wrist guard. However, no matter how he wiped it or even invaded it with special spices, he still couldn't hide its bloody gas. Bloody gas? Bai Shishir was shocked and reached for another wrist guard. When she grabbed the wristband, all the runes on the wristband lit up and the fluctuation of Jin Zhili became violent, while Bai Shishir ignored its fluctuation and looked at each rune carefully with a pair of big eyes. Cheat people, there is no breath at all. Bai Shishir glanced at the Dragon Dust. The Dragon Dust shook his head and said, the Lord of the Deputy Hall doesn't know what method he used to hide the fluctuation, so you can't notice it. From the moment I stepped into the practice world, I fought all the way through the bloody storm. He can deceive you, but he can't deceive me. The wristband was stained with the blood of the Lord of the Temple. From the trace of comprehensive wiping, it shows that there is too much blood in the wristband and it is difficult to clean it up. These wristbands are a pair of sacred utensils. Even the blood essence of the saint can't invade them unless... Unless what? His poetic face was white and tense. Unless, at that time, the Lord of the Temple was on the verge of death, and his strong will to survive allowed his blood essence to tap his final potential, it would invade this pair of wristbands. Dragon Dust Road. Dragon Dust, are all you said true? Are you sure you didn't lie to me? You didn't make up a story to persuade our father and daughter to make up? Bai Shishir looked at the Dragon Dust and said in a trembling voice, I won't lie to the woman I love. Long Chen looked at Bai Shishir with deep feelings. Dragon Dust. Hearing what Long Chen said, Bai Shishir burst into tears and fell into Long Chen's arms, as if a child who had been wronged endlessly had finally found a vent point and burst into tears. Long Chen didn't offer comfort or persuasion, but quietly hugged her and let her cry heartily. Dragon Dust, what should I do? What should I do? Bai Shishir fell in the arms of Dragon Dust and choked. What to do? Dragon Dust asked. Bai Shishir cried, since I was a child, I can't understand why my mother wants to marry a man with others at the same time. I despise my mother and him. But now, I've followed my mother's old path, and I've walked wider than them. Hearing the word, wider, Long Chen almost didn't laugh, but he tried his best to hold it back. If he laughed at this time, Bai Shishir would be more sad and angry, but how did she think of this word? It's terrible. I'm afraid to face him now. I'm afraid he'll laugh at me and look down on me. But what should I do? What should I do? Bai Shishir lost his voice and cried bitterly. Long Chen suddenly realized that the pride of Bai Shishir made her unable to face her father. After all, what she advocates is to live from one to the end, but now she has become one of her many confidants. Of course, Bai Zhantong was unhappy with him, because such a strong daughter was subdued by the boy. Bai Zhantang's face was slapped. No matter who changed, he won't give Long Chen a good face. And Bai Shishir can't face her father because of Long Chen. After all, how proud she was at the beginning, which is tantamount to beating herself in the face. It's all your fault, Bai Shishir's fist slapped on Long Chen's chest, both shy and angry. It's really my fault. Otherwise, I'll only marry you. Dragon Dust gnawed his teeth. You dare, Bai Shishir was shocked. However, when he saw Long Chen's bad smile, he knew that he deliberately teased himself. Bai Shishir was more ashamed and gave Long Chen a few punches. What are you laughing at? Think of a way for me. What should I do? Bai Shishir's distressed tunnel. He almost killed himself in order to give me a gift, and he will be very sad if I treat him like that. Later, Bai Shishir burst into tears again and compared her heart to her heart. If she was Bai Zhantong, her heart would be completely broken. It's okay. Leave it to me and I'll take care of it. Long Chen smiled. How do you handle it? As soon as Bai Shishir wiped the tears on her face, her big eyes were full of questions. Don't worry about how I handle it. Anyway, I have a way. You just need to be obedient. Leave the rest to me. Don't you believe me? Dragon Dust comforted. I don't believe you. Who else can I trust? Bai Shirshir glanced at the Dragon Dust. Come on, let me put on this pair of wristbands for you. Wow, these little hands deceive frost and cover snow, are smooth and tender, and feel more comfortable than silk. Long Chen touched Bai Shishi's hand and forgot to wear wristbands. You're a bad man. I hate it. Although Bai Shirshir knew that Long Chen was deliberately teasing her, she was still ashamed and shook off Long Chen's hand. Long Chen smiled and carefully put the wrist guard on Bai Shirshir. When the wrist guard was put on Bai Shishi's wrist, it was automatically tightened. The runes on it circulated rapidly and slowly penetrated into Bai Shishi's skin. There is a set of golden skill and magic power in the wrist guard. Bai Shirshir was shocked, countless runes poured into her body, and countless pictures appeared in her mind. The origin of these wristbands is amazing. They are the inheritance treasures of a sect. However, I don't know how Bai Zhantong got them. Bai Shirshir is more and more grateful and guilty to his father. Dragon Dust, do I want to apologize to him? Bai Shirshir hesitated for a moment and said with clenched teeth. Can you? Dragon Dust asked. When asked by Long Chen, Bai Shirshir immediately felt like an angry ball, and the courage she had just summoned disappeared without a trace. It's not necessary. It's all said. Leave it to me and I'll take care of it for you. Long Chen said something and stood up. How do you handle it? Bai Shirshir is a little uneasy. Dragon Dust patted the dragon's keel behind the evil moon. The problems between men are solved by force. I'm going to compete with him to win or lose. If I win, his daughter has to marry me. What if you lose? Bai Shirshir is nervous and authentic. Then he'll marry his daughter. Dragon Dust smiled insidiously. Annoying, serious. Bai Shir is angry and anxious. Well, I have my way, but it doesn't work. Wait here for my good news and be obedient. Dragon Dust comforted. Listening to Long Chen coax herself like a child, Bai Shirshir feels that her heart is full of sweetness. She has always been competitive, but now she feels that she is taken care of by others, which is so warm and steady. And Long Chen came out of the room and stretched out for a long time. Cut, I haven't seen anything about Dragon Dust. Let me take care of him. With that, Long Chen went straight to the residence of Bai Zhanta. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-41 Long Chen came to Bai Zhantang's residence, but found that Bai Zhantang was not in his residence. Long Chen turned to the back mountain of the academy and saw the figure of Bai Zhantang next to a high cliff waterfall. At this time, Bai Zhantang was staring at the waterfall in a daze. He looked silent and didn't know what he was thinking. Long Chen came to the White Exhibition Hall and found a rock. After sitting down, he looked at the White Exhibition Hall with a bad smile and said, Does the Vice Lord of the Temple especially want to see the two ladies? Fuck you? I'm not in the mood to talk to you now. Bai Zhantang is not angry. Dragon Dust picked up a small stone at the edge of the rock, bent his fingers and flicked. With a hiss, the small stone burst out and hit the waterfall. The powerful force ran through the waterfall and aroused the water vapor in the sky. The moisture filled the air and was reflected by the sun. Suddenly, a rainbow appeared. The colorful radiance reflected the whole cliff beautifully. Even Bai Zhantang was stunned, and then a look of anger appeared on his face. Is that how you tricked poetry? So what? With your IQ, I can't learn this method all my life. Dragon Dust directly returns to the road. Glib men are the least reliable. Bai Zhantang angrily said. People who can't even coax women are no different from Shanpao? Dragon Dust disdains tunnel. It seems that you have come to me to get a higher score? Come on, let me see if you are qualified to be arrogant in front of me. Bai Zhantang stood up in anger and put on a posture. Long Chen waved his hand and said, Pull it down. I'm not so aggressive. I've already passed the age of being competitive. I ask you if you didn't mean to come back this time? But force back? You. How do you know? Bai Zhantang was stunned. Long Chen didn't answer directly but continued, "You came back with two kinds of treasures. In fact, you were carrying a task, but you made a mess of this task." After listening to Long Chen's words, Bai Zantang's angry face disappeared, a look of annoyance appeared on his face, and he slowly sat down again. Obviously, Long Chen guessed right. Originally, these two gifts should be brought back by Bai Xiaole's mother or Bai Shishi's mother, because they are powerful and meticulous, which is much more reliable than Bai Zhantong. But when Bai Zhantong came back, Long Chen felt a little strange. To put it mildly, Bai Zhantong was in Lingxiao Academy, which was described as useless. Of course, Long Chen doesn't dare to say these four words directly. The identity of the deputy hall leader of Bai Zhantong is mainly for his two wives. If he only depends on his own strength, even if he is Bai Lishan's son, it won't work at all. Although Bai Zhantong is powerful, many things can't be done well, and good things can be screwed up. For example, when he came back this time, he brought Bai Xiaole a gift. But after seeing Bai Xiaole, he felt that Bai Xiaole had a strong breath. In his ecstasy, he tried to test Bai Xiaole. He wanted to give him some encouragement and comfort, but everyone was embarrassed. In the face of Bai Shisha, he couldn't even say something nice. Now he regretted coming back. At the same time, he also felt a deep decadence. He felt that he was nothing and couldn't even have a good relationship with his own bones. Long Chen continued, "Not only did you not complete your own tasks, but also the tasks given to you by the academy, which makes you very unhappy. People who are too smart will also make people unhappy. The White Exhibition Hall is a cold tunnel." Long Chen smiled. "I am sometimes smart and sometimes stupid, but fortunately, I am more smart. I came here to say thanks to you on behalf of Bai Shisha. She likes the baby you got by spelling it badly." Bai Zhantong was surprised. "How do you know?" "As I said, I'm smart sometimes." Long Chen smiled. In fact, Long Chen shook his head secretly in his heart. Bai Zantang's IQ is really not high. His means can't hide from others at all. Bai Zantang's means can't hide from Long Chen and Bai Shishi's mother. They should pretend not to know and ask him to give Bai Shisha a gift. Bai Shisha will understand his father's heart for her after seeing it. This is the best opportunity to repair his father-daughter's feelings. Bai Zhantong thought he was perfect, but he didn't know that this little trick can't deceive people. Even Bai Shisha can detect it by observing and feeling carefully. She really asked you to say thank you? It's impossible. You must have lied." The voice of the White Exhibition Hall trembled at this time. She cried, "Dragon Dust's face is serious and authentic." Hearing these three words, Bai Zhantong was stunned if he was struck by lightning. At that moment, his eyes were red. This careless Iron Man rarely showed a touch of tenderness. Bai Zhantong wanted to say something, but his mouth opened a few times, but he didn't say anything. Long Chen turned to look at the distant mountain and deliberately gave him a chance to secretly wipe the tears from the corners of his eyes by rolling his hair. "Poetry is proud, so she won't apologize to you. There's nothing wrong with her. I'm Bai Zantang's daughter. I don't need to apologize to anyone, including you. I warn you, don't bully her. Even if she is wrong, don't force her to admit it, otherwise I won't let you go." Bai Zhantong regained his domineering spirit in the past, and the whole person became excited, and even threatened Long Chen. Facing the threat of Bai Zhantong, Long Chen didn't take it to heart. In his heart, "If you don't let me go, I'll let your daughter don't let you go." Seeing the White Exhibition Hall as if the curse had been lifted, the whole person became energetic. Long Chen smiled in his heart. Such a small thing was too simple for him. You don't need to worry about poetry. Anyway, she will continue to maintain her pride. Long Chen said, "Don't be so fussy. I know more about my own daughter than anyone. I don't need your advice." Bai Zhantong is not angry. Long Chen nodded and said, "As for Xiaola, he is a child. He is not happy to receive your gift. However, don't expect that a gift can make him change his view of you." "Cut, what do I need him to change? If I'm not convinced, I'll deal with him. The White Exhibition Hall is light and authentic. That's right. We can clean up now. In a few years, we won't know who will clean up who." Long Chen held his hands behind his head and looked up at the sky. It was neither salty nor light. What do you mean? You mean I won't be his opponent in a few years? Bai Zhantong looked unconvinced. In fact, even now, if Xiaola and Xiaojiu break out with all their strength, your odds of winning will not exceed 70%. Dragon Dust Road. Brag, Bai Zhantong stared and looked incredulous. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-42, there are 2 reasons why he can't do his best in front of you. One is that you are his nightmare when he was a child. The ghosts you raise make him afraid in the depths of his soul, so he lacks confidence. Another reason is that because you are his father, he can't break out with all his strength, so as not to hurt you or even kill you. Dragon Dust looks serious and authentic. If Xiaolu really hates you, he can seal his memory and merge with Xiaojiu. Xiaojiu doesn't know you. With the ferocity of Purple Pupil Nine-tailed Demon Fox, he will surely perform the strongest killing skill. In fact, the fox is suspicious. Although Xiaojiu is close to us because of his nature, his real cards won't let us know. Even Xiaolu may not know. Therefore, Xiaola and Xiaojiu have always been the secret weapons of our Dragon Blood Corps. Their strength has always been a mystery. Hearing Long Chen's words, Bai Zhantong suddenly laughed with joy and pride. Although he didn't believe that Bai Xiaola could defeat him, Bai Xiaola never made the final fit with Xiaojiu, which showed that he had his father in his heart, which made him most excited. In this way, the tasks given to him by the 2 ladies were explained, and I immediately felt that the whole person was relaxed. Although I don't like you very much, I find that there is still something to appreciate about you. Bai Zhantong praised Longchen for the first time, which made Longchen a little uncomfortable. Now that the family affairs have been handled, let's talk about business. Can you tell me the specific situation of the Emperor? Dragon Dust Positive Colorway. Before, there were Bai Shishir and Bai Xiaola. Bai Zhantong was in a mess at that time and was not in the mood to talk about it in detail. It was because Long Chen saw this that he comforted Bai Shishir and came to Bai Zhantong. Bai Zhantong looked dignified and said, "In fact, the situation there is not very optimistic. Our foundation has been seriously corroded. There are countless demons occupying it outside. In other places, the monsters outside the sky are scattered everywhere, but there is a powerful legion. They are not a race, but assembled by dozens of ethnic groups. Our people can only visit on the edge and can't go deep into it. If you can't go deep into it, how can you know that the foundation is seriously corroded?" Dragon Dust asked. "Because we brought the chief fire of the academy, the induction inside is very weak. According to the dean, those monsters are likely to use some power to corrode our foundation all the time." Baishantang Road. Doesn't it mean that monsters have very low wisdom? They shouldn't understand this. Dragon Dust Road. It's reasonable to say so. Therefore, when we grew up in the hospital, we didn't let us attack directly. I'm afraid it's a trap. Baishantang Road. Trap. Dragon Dust took a breath of air conditioning. If this is a trap, how long has it been arranged? The president said that the most fear is that when we launch an attack, we are likely to be attacked by other forces. At that time, we will be attacked by the enemy, which is likely to lead to total destruction. Bai Zhantong holds his fist. The enemies in the Emperor's heaven also found us? Dragon Dust surprised the tunnel. Although the Emperor's sky is big, there are so many places that can be controlled by the Terrans. They know the surrounding situation like the back of their hands. Any wind and grass can't escape their eyes. Because of this, we are in the light and they are in the dark. We are very passive, so we can only stand still. When everyone enters the Emperor's heaven, the president said. Bai Zhantong suddenly paused and looked at Long Chen. He was a little unconvinced. He said to the old man, "I want to hear your opinion." "My opinion?" Long Chen was slightly stunned and then said, "It's estimated that things are more complicated. One hair will move the whole body. The opportunity that the president is waiting for should not appear." Bai Zhantong looked at Long Chen in surprise and said, "You're really smart." The president also said similar things. He said that the situation is unknown and rash action is too risky. It's better to wait and see what happens. Is there any danger when our academy is temporarily stationed in the Emperor's heaven? Dragon Dust asked. I haven't encountered any danger. However, many forces have come to visit, but they are personally received by the president. The president didn't say anything about it. However, looking at the arrogant appearance of some people, we know that 8 out of 10 of these guys came to explore the bottom. A guy was deliberately looking for trouble. I punched him in the nose. Those guys were anxious on the spot. I was about to kill them, but Shaole's mother stopped me. Since then, the dean forbids me to come out and meet people. Then there is a crack in the chaotic Xinghai, and the Xinghai Tianlu appears. It's useless to see me there, so let me come back. Bai Zhantong looks a little ugly. Bai Zhantong has a hot personality. He is not good at hiding his thoughts, let alone lying. Therefore, he said all these in one breath. Even if it is an ignominious misfortune, he didn't hide it. By the way, I suddenly remembered, are you related to the Tianhuang dragon family? Bai Zhantong suddenly said. Long Chen said, it should have something to do with it. There is a big man in the Tianhuang dragon family named Long Zhantian. Bai's Hantang Road. Hearing the news, Long Chen suddenly stood up. My father's name is Long Zhantian. Dragon Dust is a little excited. At first, Long Zhantian stayed in Lingshao Academy, but Long Zhantian was very low-key. Except for a few people of Long Chen, he didn't contact anyone, and then he drifted away. Bai Zhantong didn't contact Long Zhantian, let alone know the name of Long Chen's father. This time it was Bai Zhantang's turn to be surprised. Is that your father? Dragon Dust said, it's very possible, because my father has indeed arrived at the Emperor's heaven. When he leaves. Pa, Bai Zhantong patted his thigh. I remember that when your father left, it coincided with the time when the dragon family appeared. I'm really sorry, my father at that time. Long Chen was a little embarrassed. At the beginning, he didn't let Long Zhantian meet with others. On the one hand, it was because his father was still recovering from his injury at that time and shouldn't be disturbed. In addition, his father has been imprisoned for so many years and suffered humiliation. If he were himself, Long Chen would have been crazy. He doesn't want his father to be looked at differently, which will cause him secondary injury. According to etiquette, Long Zhantian and Bai Zhantong are future relatives. It is impolite for Long Zhantian to leave without saying goodbye. I've heard about your father. He's a real hero. Don't talk about those useless red tape. Bai Zhantong waved his hand. He touched his chin and said, according to what you say, that person is your father? Long Chen nodded and briefly told the story of the Tianhuang dragon family. It was said that Long Chen's father was indeed in the dragon family. Bai Zhantong stared and suddenly said, now, I seem to understand. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-43, See What? Dragon Dust asked. That person may really be your father, or he won't have such a violent conflict with Tianfu. Bai's Hantang Road. As soon as we entered the Emperor's heaven, we heard that a major event broke out in the Emperor's heaven. There was a conflict between the Tianhuang dragon family and the Tianfu, and the dragon and the Tianfu killed 76 Zijin killers. At that time, it was a great sensation. Zijin killer? What's that? Dragon Dust asked. That's the killer level in Tianfu. Those who can be ranked as purple gold killers are the existence of the Holy King level. It is said that when the conflict broke out, there were more than 300 purple gold level killers besieging your father, but your father fought back madly, cutting 76 people of the other party, forcing the other party to flee everywhere. Because of this, your father has just entered the dragon's house and ranked among the 4 heavenly saints. He forcibly squeezed out one of the old heavenly saints, which can be described as a sensation. Bai's Hantang Road. Hearing that his father was so fierce, he couldn't help but be elated and excited. Long Chen was full of worship for his father, and the poem he once recited sounded in his ear from time to time. The branches are low under the snow, although they are not low enough to touch the mud. Once the sun rises red, it is still flush with the sky. When Long Zhantian was a teenager, he was extremely talented and energetic. He had never met an opponent in his life, but he was suddenly trapped for many years. Life was worse than death, but he never lowered his noble head. Now the red sun of dragon dust appears. When he shows his edge again, all the strong men between heaven and earth are eclipsed. On Long Zhantian, Long Chun feels the majestic momentum that only the great emperor has. Now he hears the news of his father. Long Chen is so excited that he can't wait to shout. At the same time, Long Chen also understood the meaning of Bai Zhantong. Tianfu is the enemy of the purple blood family, and Long Zhantian is the son-in-law of the purple blood family. Of course, he will not be merciful when he meets Tianfu. Why did Tianfu send people here to create a group of destiny people with Zhizhuan Tianming pill and plan to raid Lingshao Academy? In this way, all the causes and consequences are completely clear. How's my father now? Dragon Dust asked excitedly. It's really unclear. I just heard that the Tianhuang dragon family sent someone to the academy, and the dean was responsible for the reception. I didn't know the specific situation, and then I was sent back. Bai's Hentang Road. Didn't the dean tell you to take care of us? Dragon Dust asked. Bai Zhantong thought for a moment and said, it doesn't seem to be true. I was sent back. One is to deal with the family affairs, and the other is to meet the master of the clean house. Have you met Master Jingyuan? Dragon Dust asked. Yes, I have. I also brought the words of the dean to you, but the master of the net yard just nodded and didn't say anything. Bai's Hentang Road. He also had a great headache for Jingyuan adults. In his impression, Jingyuan adults never talked to him, and some just nodded and shook their heads. Therefore, when I heard that Long Chun could communicate with the master of the clean house, Bai Zhantong was very unconvinced. But this is clearly looking down on people. However, he dared not be rude to the master of the clean house. Not only did he respect him very much because of his father, but also the lord of the temple he admired very much. Long Chun wanted to ask Bai Zhantong what he had brought to the master of the clean house. With Bai Zhantong's ingenuity, he could easily get his words out. However, there are still some taboos about this kind of thing. It's not authentic. Long Chun had to resist asking. The white exhibition hall, which untied the knot, was in a particularly good mood. For the first time, he talked with Long Chen harmoniously. Long Chen was not stingy and took out the good wine directly. They drank and talked by the waterfall. It's not so much chatting as exploring the past of Long Chen. Long Chen is also a above-board person. There's nothing to hide about his past. Since he was born, he has been dug up for spiritual roots, blood and bones, thrown into the Fengming Empire and adopted by Long Tianxiao. He has moved step by step to the practice world. Except for the secrets about the 9-star body formula, the memory of the Dan Emperor and the strong of the dragon family, Long Chen has nothing to hide. Bai Zhantong will say what he asks him. Bai Zhantong had a moving look in his eyes. He had always thought that Long Chen was a dissolute child. Relying on his talent, he was arrogant and domineering. But unexpectedly, Long Chen has experienced so much suffering. At the same time, thinking of Long Chen's father, I can't help sighing in my heart. These two father and son are really poor people. Their hostility to Long Chen can't help reducing a lot. Originally, Long Chen wanted to know about the emperor and heaven through the white exhibition hall. He found that this guy was really useless. When he asked, he didn't know anything. At most, he knew some changes in the way of heaven and rare treasures. When asked about the treasure of Bai Xiaole and Bai Shishir, Bai Zhantong said that Bai Xiaole's treasure was obtained by Bai Shishi's mother in an ancient relic. Bai Shishi's wrist guard was taken from a powerful monster during their first visit to the academy base. According to Bai Zhantong, the demons they encountered were a group of demonic corpses. These demonic corpses were the corpses of the ancient times. They were powerful practitioners before they died. After they died, they changed and became terrible demonic corpses. The corpses of these demon corpses are immortal, their spirits are immortal, and their fighting will is preserved. It is said that they did not realize that they were dead and thought they were defending their homes on the battlefield. Bai Zhantang saw a monster with a gold wrist guard on his wrist. He immediately realized that it was a pair of children's treasures. When he thought of his daughter for the first time, he would take it away and give it to Bai Shirshir. But he didn't expect that the monster with the gold wristband was the leader of the group of monsters. His strength was so terrible that he almost died in his hands. At that time, his 2 wives were not around. If the Hall Lord didn't act in time, the consequences would be unimaginable. After the First World War, he knew that these corpse demons could not judge their strength by their appearance and breath. The strength of corpse demons lies in their fighting will at the moment of shooting. In other words, if you don't fight with him, you can't know his strength. It's very troublesome. This is one of the reasons why the Dean dare not act rashly. In addition, many monsters outside the sky, even the strong ones in the Emperor's sky, do not fully understand their ethnic relations, and sometimes make mistakes in the way to distinguish their strength. This kind of mistake is extremely fatal. I clearly thought it was a rabbit. When I got close, I knew it was a fierce tiger. I couldn't run at that time. If Lingshao Academy wants to gain a firm foothold in Emperor Heaven, it first needs the support of some local forces, not to mention the support of resources. Only the resource distribution, monster level, cultivation taboos and other materials of Emperor Heaven are what Lingshao Academy needs most at present. Therefore, considering various factors, White Latte had to choose to be conservative to avoid low-level mistakes and unnecessary losses. But you don't have to worry. Lingshao Academy is Lingshao Academy after all. These problems are not problems. In the Emperor's Heaven, there are our enemies and our friends. However, the news of Lingshao Academy entering the Emperor's Heaven has not spread. For the time being, time is very favorable for us. Baishantang Road. Longchen nodded. The first academy in the world is definitely not in vain. Longchen also believes that with the wisdom of the Dean, he will not be unprepared before entering the Emperor's Heaven. The Dean is just waiting for the best time. Buzz. Suddenly, the jade plaque on Longchen's waist trembled, and a cold and fierce killing intention appeared on Longchen's face. It's really a thief's heart. Deputy Hall Lord, let's go and meet the thieves of the life-hunting family for a while. Hoo-hoo, as they spoke, their figures disappeared at the same time. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-44. At the moment of Long Chen's departure, the harsh alarm sounded, and the boarder rose one after another in Lingshao Academy, wrapping the whole academy heavily. Boom! However, when the boundary of the academy just rose, a sharp sword tore the sky and hit the boundary of Lingshao Academy. With a bang, dozens of boundaries were pierced by a sword. What? At that moment, Long Chen and Bai Zhantang were awestruck and could pierce all the boundaries with a sword. At least they were strong at the Saint King level. At that moment, Long Chen and Bai Zhantang had an ominous feeling, and 4 words came to mind at the same time. Purple Gold Killer, boom. The border was pierced, and a transparent figure came from the outside. The dragon dust trembled in his hand and cut it out with a knife. Boom! With a startling explosion, the figure was shocked by the dragon dust, but the dragon dust was also shocked by the man's terrorist power, so that his blood surged, his throat was sweet, and almost a mouthful of blood gushed out. Target already appears. The transparent figure was shocked by the dragon dust and said coldly. Then in the void, ripples appeared, and 15 figures appeared at the same time. As soon as the 15 figures appeared, the vast divine power covered the sky and the sun, the terrible Holy King's power swept through the universe, and the dragon dust was locked by 16 people at the same time. At the moment when the 16 Saint King level strong men locked dragon dust, it seemed that dragon dust was pressed by the Star River and his bones crunched. This is dragon dust. If it is a general God-respected strong man, it will be directly crushed by the divine power of the Saint King. Kill the first target first, then look for the second target, and make a quick decision. One of the Holy Kings issued a decree. Buzz, as he gave orders, 16 long swords pointed directly at the dragon dust, and the fierce sword spirit split the void. Do you take me as a fake? Just then, a roar came, and Bai Zhantang killed him. Bai Zhantong was furious. He rushed with Long Chen at the same time, but the group took him as heir. Hiss! One of the 16 strong saints and kings was separated from the team in a flash. At the moment when his figure shook, he even imagined a figure all over the sky, which made people unable to distinguish between reality and reality. Give me this man. The man snorted coldly. Suddenly, one of the thousands of figures appeared in front of Bai Zhantong like a ghost and stabbed Bai Zhantong in the throat with a sword. Get out! The white exhibition hall roared, and the violent breath gushed out. The same majesty belonging to the holy king swept all directions, and a broad sword in his hand fiercely cut away at the man. Boom! With a bang, two magic soldiers met, and the holy king and strong man was slashed with blood by a sword of Baizhantang. Sealed the accomplishments? The strong man of the holy king was frightened and angry. All ghost seal, open. The white exhibition hall roared, and countless runes circulated all over the body. Those runes were like chains, which exploded with his roar. As the chain burst open, a monster with 2 horns, long hair falling on his feet and wearing ancient robes appeared behind him. As soon as the monster appeared, the ghost gas soared between heaven and earth, and the whole world seemed to enter hell. As Bai Zhantong untied the seal, his strength gushed out like a flood breaking the embankment, and the violent air waves scattered the clouds in all directions. There is also a hidden master here. When the white exhibition hall broke out with all its strength, those holy kings and strong people were shocked. Kill him first. At this time, a loud dragon chant resounded through the heaven and earth, and the blood gas swallowed up the sky. The dragon dust was dressed in blood-colored scales, and a long blood-colored cloak swayed with the wind behind him, which was indescribable domineering. I said I would come so soon. It turned out that there was a wronged leader from the emperor. But he was killed by my father and lost his armor. He came here to find a place? Ooh! The dragon dust held the evil moon in his hand and carried it on his shoulder. Looking at these Saint King-level strong men, a look of ridicule appeared on his face. If you can't solve the second goal with all your strength, give priority to the first goal and kill one. A king-level strong man of the Life Hunter shouted coldly. Who, with his order, 16 people, 10 people rushed to Longshan at the same time, and the other 6 people killed Bai Zhantong in 6 directions. Look down on me? That. Seeing 10 people kill Longshan, and there are only 6 people on his side, Bai Zhantong is furious and rushes to the 6 holy king killers with a heavy sword in his hand. At the moment when he rushed out, the long-haired monster behind him suddenly opened his mouth and screamed like a fierce ghost. Even Long Chen felt a tremor of his soul, and those in front of him obviously felt a tremor of his body. Boom! Bai Zhantang's heavy sword was cut off, and 6 people resisted it together, but they were still cut back by his sword. Everyone's mouth was bleeding, and their eyes were full of horror. It turned out that just now, when the monster behind the white exhibition hall called, his soul would leave the body in a moment. Fortunately, they were powerful and responded quickly. Their soul returned at the first time, otherwise they would be cut to pieces by the white exhibition hall with a sword. Boom boom. On the other side of the dragon dust, 10 holy kings and 10 long swords attacked and killed the dragon dust at the same time. The evil moon in the dragon dust's hand danced up and down. In the blink of an eye, there were thousands of collisions. The 10 holy kings and strong men shot according to a specific array. 10 long swords attack from different angles, at different times and with different strength, and cooperate seamlessly. Dang dang. The dragon bone evil moon defends up and down, such as the storm, and seals the attack of the other party. However, the 10 holy kings and strong ones cooperate to swallow the sky. The dragon dust was firmly trapped for a time. The white exhibition hall is not too optimistic. Although the white exhibition hall took the initiative under the attack, the advantages of the white exhibition hall gradually disappeared when the 6 people came back and cooperated with each other. Still playing routine? It seems that the white exhibition hall is rarely coordinated with the siege like this. For a time, it is in a hurry and can't be effectively used. It is so angry that it yells. Boom! At this time, on the protective array of Lingxiao Academy, there were ripples, and transparent figures appeared one after another. They were impressively life-hunting killers. What shocked Bai Zhantong most was that all these people were 9-star destiny, as many as hundreds of thousands. Bad? Bai Zhantong was shocked and was about to return to defense, but he was firmly held by the 6 men. Dragon dust, they are luring the tiger away from the mountain. Don't let them destroy the foundation of our academy. Bai Zhantong exclaimed. He misunderstood the purpose of the group. Destroy the foundation of our academy? You praise them too much. Dragon dust despised the tunnel. In the face of the endless destiny, a touch of sarcasm appeared on the corner of Dragon Dust's mouth. How big waves can a group of pseudo-destiny make? Puff puff. Just then, figures appeared on the Academy array, and those 9-star destiny who madly attacked the Academy array immediately stained the sky with blood. The Dragon Blood Legion is here. Come here if you are not afraid of death. The roar of Dragon Blood soldiers changed the color of heaven and earth and made heaven and earth tremble. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47-45. When countless powerful hunters are killed out, the big hole in the barrier is blocked by Longchen and Beishente. They can only enter from other directions of the barrier. A hole has been broken through in the enchantment, and the protection ability is less than 1/10 of the original. The 9-star destiny of the Life Hunter can easily break through the enchantment. At the moment they appeared, the Dragon Blood soldiers, like divine soldiers, had already begun to meet them. Puff puff. Many strong people of the Life Hunting clan were killed by the Dragon Blood soldiers as soon as they approached. Even the 9-star destiny has no resistance in front of the Dragon Blood soldiers. The Dragon Blood soldiers need no second move with one sword. The 9-star fatalists of hundreds of thousands of Life Hunters were originally murderous and unstoppable, but now they are like moths to the fire. Join forces to kill Dragon Dust. A powerful king of a Life Hunting clan roared. 10 of them joined hands to attack. They were sharp and unparalleled, but Longchen never showed any flaws, and their defense was like an antelope hanging horn. No matter how hard they attack, they can't find the chance of a fatal blow. Even if they break out with all their strength can't break the defense of Dragon Dust, which makes them anxious. Their primary target is Longchen, and their secondary target is Luo Bing and Luo Ning. They originally planned to besiege Longchen with 16 people and 6 people, and destroy the buildings of Lingxiao Academy in 4 directions with 10 people. The hundreds of thousands of destiny were responsible for catching Luo Bing and Luo Ning. As a result, a white exhibition hall was killed on the way, and the strength of Dragon Dust is so terrible that they can't take Dragon Dust with the power of 10 people. If they go on like this, the 9-star destiny of the Life Hunter will be killed soon. Boom! Suddenly, there was an explosion. Bai Zhantong was shocked by the joint efforts of the 6 people. Bai Zhantong was very angry. He stepped on the void and rushed straight to the Dragon Dust. But at the moment he rushed out, he found that the void in front of him was distorted in a large area. Asshole! Seeing this scene, Bai Zhantong was surprised, angry and annoyed. He fell into a trap. The strong men of the Life Hunting clan didn't know what method they used to set up a transmission trap in the void. Open it for me! Bai Zhantong was furious, his eyebrows glowed, a strange rune appeared, and his broad sword chopped down like lightning. Boom! The endless space runes are broken, and the distorted space is restored to peace, while the white exhibition hall has been transmitted out of Lingxiao Academy, almost out of the boundary of the academy. Dragon Dust, hold on, I'm coming! Bai Zhantong roared and rushed forward with his feet on the void. Although he doesn't like Longchen very much, he is his future son-in-law after all. Now he is anxious to see that Longchen is in danger. At the same time, he also secretly hated his stupidity. He couldn't see such a simple trap. If his 2 wives were there, he would never be fooled. At this time, he was so angry that his teeth were going to break. Boom boom. Dragon Dust was besieged by 16 holy kings. The pressure of Dragon Dust suddenly increased. The dragon bone evil moon roared and the heavy sword shadow was smaller and smaller. A group of invisible things, even if there are many people, are just a mob and can't be attacked secretly. You are nothing. My father can kill you and run away, and my dragon dust can also kill you to cry for your father and mother. Dragon evil, cut the sky. The dragon dust broke his drink like a giant dragon roaring. On the keel evil moon, all the sky-opening runes portrayed by the dragon dust lit up, and a knife shadow rose into the sky. Boom! The 16 holy kings who besieged the dragon dust were shaken away. Buzz, in their horrified eyes, the sky knife shadow, 1 minute and 16, bloomed like a lotus and cut at 16 people at the same time. This is a new move developed by Dragon Dust and Dragon Bone Evil Moon from the 9 movements of Opening the Sky. Dragon Dust is named Dragon Evil Cutting the Sky. It is the first joint attack between Dragon Dust and Dragon Bone Evil Moon at present. Boom boom. When the shadow of the 16 swords fell, those holy kings and strong men waved their swords to resist at the same time. As a result, one by one, they were shocked to gush blood and fly out upside down. Unfortunately, this move is not mature. After the split, the power is scattered. Otherwise, none of these guys will live. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon shouted angrily. This is a new move just developed by Keel Evil Moon and Dragon Dust. Although they succeeded in the experiment, they only used half of their strength at that time. Now they are obviously lack of control under all-out efforts, and the defects appear immediately. Withdraw. The 16 holy kings and strong men were completely frightened by the move of Dragon Dust. They didn't look good. They were about to escape immediately. 16 figures disappeared at the same time. Bang! At the moment when they disappeared, there was a loud bang. A golden ball exploded around them, and the golden powder fell into the sky. Those figures who had just disappeared immediately appeared. If you want to leave, you can leave. Guoran, holding a colored saber, stood in the air and blocked the way of the group. Next to Guoran, Xiachen, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Yu Zifeng, Yu Qingxian, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and others also appeared, surrounding these holy kings and powerful people. If it's a sneak attack from behind, I have to admit that you are the king, but after seeing the light, you are a group of street mice. Today, you can't escape. Guoran shouted coldly, holding a colorful saber. At this time, the Dragon Blood Legion had rushed from all directions, and hundreds of thousands of killers of the life-hunting family were killed in an instant. However, the reason why they can be so efficient is that these 9-star destiny people seem to fall into a crazy state. They have no fear of death. They rush forward wholeheartedly and are killed one by one. Burn Blood and Refine Soul, a powerful king of a life hunter roared. He recited a strange spell in his mouth. His blood was ignited and his breath increased several times in a moment. Obviously, these king-level strong men began to work hard. As Guoran said, if it was a sneak attack, even Dragon Dust had to be afraid of them. However, the killers just die at the sight of light. Frontal combat is not their strength at all. Even if they are proficient in cooperation, they still can't help Dragon Dust. Now they have to work hard. The task has failed. Whether they can survive depends on this time. Buzz, all the holy kings and strong ones burned their blood souls, and one of them rushed directly to Guoran, because among all the people present, only Guoran gave them the lowest sense of threat, and his life instinct decided his choice. When the holy king's strong hand was like electricity. As soon as the long sword came out, it had stabbed Guoran in front of his chest. This time, even the holy king's strong man of the life-hunting family was stunned. Although he felt that Guoran was very weak, he didn't expect that Guoran was so weak that he couldn't hide a sort of temptation and was stabbed by a sword. But when the long sword stabbed Guoran in the chest, his face suddenly changed. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Calm that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.